The premiere of Real Housewives of Orange County. It is finally here. Most of you have watched it by now, but if not, I'm going to take you through the entire episode. And I think you don't even have to have watched it to listen to this recap, but hopefully you've watched it because I really think this is what we've been starving and thirsting for is some good old-fashioned housewives. Now, I talked a little bit about this on Thursday's episode, but what I think going into this season, there was already this great anticipation for so many reasons. And I think this kind of shows you why or how these shows can really work and really pop. And thankfully, they had a really solid first episode. Now, we really won't know how the season, the preview for the entire season looks great, but usually around the third or fourth episode is when we start to really feel if it's going to be a magical season. And sometimes magical seasons can really lean on people's personal pain. And we got that in spades, folks. We got Shannon Beador. I mean, Shannon Beador, whatever your thoughts on Shannon Beador, listen, I wouldn't have come back this season. I wouldn't have come back this season. And she's one of the reasons why this first episode pops the way it does and why we've been anticipating it so much. Because let me take you back to the end of last season with the reunion. And Shannon Beador did not have a great reunion appearance. I mean, the stuff with her and Gina, the stuff with her and John, there was a lot of stuff out there, But the show wouldn't work if it was just Shannon Beador. It's the rest of these ladies because they all have things going on. They all play a part. And this is why I think you really need to hang on in watching Housewives seasons. You can have a bad season, a so-so season, a building season, or a rebuilding season, and that all can lead you to a great season, which is what I hope that we have here. I sound like a nut just saying this, but it's really exciting, right? It really is exciting. And you know it when you watch it, when you're like, ooh, this is good. This is good. I can work with this. This is keeping me off my phone. I'm not doom scrolling while I'm watching this episode of Real Housewives of Orange County. So Shannon Beador, obviously, the reunion already really, just a very intense performance. But then after that reunion, just moments later, the whole thing happened where she drove her car into a house. I mean, that's legitimately what happened. Alcohol was involved. John Jansen was involved. And, so all of this, it almost feels like too much for one person. And I want to say right up top, by no means do I excuse any of Shannon's behavior. That is horrific. And I think she knows it's horrific. We'll see if she actually learns lessons throughout the season, but I hope that she does. And I hope that she has. I mean, not even for the sake of the reality show, but just for the sake of her personal life. So just know that I realize how wrong that is. But, it's very interesting that we even get little spurts of this, that she was directly in a fight with John Jansen. And just so I'm kind of warming up some of the voices that I used to do. Like I was practicing my Gina, or I'm Gina. How you doing? It's me, Gina. Just know that I know none of my voices sound like the characters, but it's all in good fun. Oh, I'm Gina. How you doing? And Heather, I am Heather Dubrow, and I speak in staccato, and I am richer than everybody out there. Period. You have all of these cast members, but this is why I love Orange County so much. And it's wild. And, Tamra Judge, she came back last season. And like I said, within 5 episodes, she was ruling the roost. I mean, it was her show. And I think she's a different type of cast member, a different type of housewife, which I've been talking about this week, like the different forms of housewives there are. And I think Tamra lives in a real world enough, but she's also a shit stirrer. She's a shit stirrer that like makes moves. She plays housewives like a game. And that's why I almost thought she would have done better on The Traitors. And I would almost be interested to see her on another competition-based reality show, because I think she thinks in moves. Like even her Instagram, this is great. She posted this earlier today. And said, hold on to your daddies, girls. Here comes Real Housewives of Orange County. Season 18 premieres tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and at Bravo TV. And it's a picture of all the ladies. And so you have Shannon Bedore, Sheena, Emily, Gina, not Sheena. What Sheena joins Orange County. That actually I would watch. Gina, Emily Simpson, Heather Dubrow. You've got Alexis Bellino is back. Tamra, Jen Padronti, and the new cast member, Katie Janella. And she's in this episode very briefly towards the end. So these are the cast members. So you're like, oh, okay, that's pretty nice. Tamara, included a picture of them all. But then she tags, this is who she tagged. She tagged Katie, Alexis, Emily, Heather, and Gina. She did not tag Shannon Bedore and Jen Pedronti. So you already know where the battle lines are drawn. Like, we know that Shannon Bedore and Tamra are not getting along. And we know that Tamra had wild issues with Jen. And I felt like Jen Pedronti, if you just to give you a refresher, she's in that relationship with Ryan, who, tried to explain away a dick pic, was like, oh, I was on a plane and the Wi-Fi, and then I was sending the dick pic to Jen, and it wasn't to somebody else. It was an accident. I sent dick pics to everybody. I sent it to Ryan Bailey. Yeah. So he was trying to explain away this dick pic, but we all kind of get this vibe or this feeling about Ryan, including the cast members. But Tamra knew Jen Pedronti through Eddie's old gym, Cut Fitness. Rest in peace, Cut Fitness. All us Cut Fitness fans out there. I still regret they put, remember like a year and a half ago or something, they sold a lot of the Cut Fitness like equipment. And I was like, that would have been great for my reality show museum, like a 20-pound weight from Cut Fitness or something. But also, they made Cut Fitness seem like a swingers party. It was like, yeah, it seemed like Ryan was going in just meeting ladies. Like, hey, that Tamara's a hottie. I bet I could get her if Eddie wasn't involved. It just seemed like this like swinger society set at a personal gym, which, I mean, unfortunately, it's closed now because I would love to actually see a Cut Fitness reality show now that I'm thinking about it. So Jen kind of got on. Jen's like a certain type of housewife too. When she comes in and she doesn't realize how intense of a Thunderdome it is, where all of a sudden it was like, Tamara, you've been nice to me out there in the real world. Why are you bringing up all of these things? Like, she was like getting rope-a-dope. She was like, oh God, why are these hits coming from somebody that I consider a friend? And I think she kind of got wind of like, oh, this is how Tamara is. This is what Tamara does. And, Tamara thinks strategically. So obviously, just based off this Instagram photo, I'm just like, it's so funny. It's like, Tamara, you could tag those other two ladies and you didn't. It's classic Tamara. Like those are the moves, because people like me and people like you will notice that and be like, that is so petty. But then we'll kind of be like, hee, that's pretty funny, So we'll see. And my thing was, Shannon, got herself in a world of trouble, a world of hurt. Obviously the relationship with John Jansen. That's how remember, guys, that's my John Jansen imitation, because I always thought John Jansen, you always have to say both names, John and Jansen. And Alexis Bellino takes it a step further in this episode and calls him Johnny J. Ooh, my Johnny J. Johnny J. Just pack it up. Call it a day. Oh, Johnny J. Does John Jansen get off on being called Johnny J? Hey, I like when you call me Johnny J. But my impression of John Jansen was that he was always so buttoned up, but you could tell there was like this intense anger welling up inside him at all times. So I would always be like, I'm John Jansen. I'm so angry. These ladies are fools. They're idiots, Shannon. You got to get away from these ladies. He speaks like he's a pro wrestler. I'm just trying to hold back my instincts. I'm going to Hulk out. I'm John Jansen, Johnny J. So this relationship was obviously ending. They were not good for each other. But I just want to, once again, state the obvious, is that it is batshit insane that Alexis Bellino, I'm not saying I don't want her back on the show because, I liked her on Real Housewives of Orange County. But it is batshit insane that Johnny J and Alexis Bellino are dating after this year, and they're putting this on reality television. Because even we find out in one of the first scenes of this season is Shannon Bedore is like, John said I was an embarrassment and I put everything on TV. Johnny J is back on TV just with a different cast member. I mean, it's gross. There is no, I'm sorry, there is no defending this. There is no defending this. I'm here for it in terms of like a viewer, but there is no defending. This is gross. This is harmful and painful. And I imagine like, this is what I'm saying. It's like this season is potentially a psychological experiment to see if Shannon Bedore can withstand. It's like she's gotten like, a plane crashed on an island like Lost. And it's like, can you escape the island? Like, and by the way, she probably gets paid very well for being on the island. But it is one of those things that you're like, oh, dude, because I couldn't handle it. Would you be? No, you wouldn't be able to handle this. Going in, like imagine already this DUI in like crashing into the house, John Jansen relationship done, and then having to go on pretty immediately and do scenes with a girl that is now dating the guy that you recently broke up with, on top of it being one of the worst years of your life. And that's why I always find it interesting with Tamara's characters, because sometimes when we fuck up in life, when we fuck up really, really bad, and we all fuck up really, really bad at some point, sometimes you've got to love those people harder. Sometimes you got to be like, you know what? I want to make it clear I do not agree with any of your behavior, but I love you. I know deep down that you are a good person. And I'm going to love, like, listen, I'm going to give you some hard, some medicine here, but I love you, and I know you are out of wax and you might be acting out of whack, but I understand that's just because of the circumstances and the situation, but I am your true friend. And that's why I think Tamara isn't a true friend to any of these people. I've always held true to this. Tamara Judge, she's an amazing housewife, but her true love is the show. Her true love is Real Housewives of Orange County. Yes, she can get along and I'm sure she considers some of these people her real friends, but her main friend is this show. That's why she's a different type of housewife. She's more in control. Even the batshit situations in her life, she has always been able to put it out there for digestion in a certain way that it never makes her like when she has come off weak, it's usually for the audience to empathize with her. And I think sometimes the only missteps Tamara makes is when we can see her moves like 3 steps down the road. When you're like, oh my God, are you really setting up Jen Pedranti to take her down? Or are you really going to like back away from Shannon? And that's the funny thing. And that's the difference between Shannon and Tamara. Shannon lives and breathes this stuff. She really thinks that Tamara's her true friend. She really thinks these things. She invests in them. She like depends on them in a sense. And I don't think Tamara depends on any of it. I mean, I think probably, pound for pound, Tamara probably has a better, more stable life than most of these ladies. Like I think this is truly her job and she's good at it. But also, and also I think she's sensitive to criticism as we all are, maybe a little overly sensitive, but she can separate that reality where I think Shannon, it's just all one thing. And that's why I tend to enjoy those kind of housewives that like they're just being themselves. They're just out there being themselves. So we have Shannon coming from all of that mess. We have Tamara being Tamara. And then Alexis Bellino, she finally got back on the show. Now, I interviewed Alexis Bellino. By the way, is that her? Do we call her Alexis Bellino still? Because I know she's not with Jim Bellino anymore. Let me see here. What do we call her? Hopefully Alexis J pretty soon, right? Alexis Jansen. Alexis, was a successful Housewives cast member, but when I interviewed her a couple of years ago, she said, yeah, of course I would be interested in coming back on the show. But, she didn't seem too interested. But all of these housewives that get off the show, usually their life becomes trying to get back on the show, but trying to do this kind of song and dance where it's like, well, I don't really need it, but I would be open to it. And I think they all need it. And I think they're all very open to it. And then it becomes this thing of getting back on there. Now, did Alexis date John Jansen to get back on the show? I personally don't think so. I think she genuinely seems like she has very weird feelings for Johnny J, but I think it was, I think she realized it also served a purpose. I think it made her more interesting. And that's why you're like the producers behind this. You're like, oh my God, please tell me you had therapists on hand for Shannon to talk to after every scene and for all of them to talk to. Cause this is just weird. But Alexis is back here. She's back. Now, Heather Dubrow came back 2 seasons ago, right? And, it was like bringing the wealth back to Orange County. Heather Dubrow, for all intents and purposes, doesn't really live in Orange County anymore. We start off with a mansion in Beverly Hills. Once again, she's showing that I am financially better and stronger than all of these ladies. But at the same time, I want to be on television. I need to be on television. Emily Simpson, I love her family. Emily and Gina have always kind of been a pair, but at the same time, I feel like in the last season, I feel like Emily's made more of a name for herself. And, she's been on a health journey, we find out. And, we watched her daughter get started on her modeling career. Shane always talking about butt stuff of some sort. Shane, shout out Shane if you're listening. And but I really do have this soft spot for Emily. I really like how she's grown into the housewife. Now Gina's interesting too, because we've always made fun of Gina in a lot of ways, like Casita Gina or Gina with the the bad extensions. And she was somebody that we kind of sometimes, very entertaining, but we always felt it was a little unfair. It was almost like upstairs, downstairs, where it was like, wait a sec, she's on Downton Abbey and she's like one of the maids that lives downstairs. And it's unfair when these people all have mansions and she's showing off her like casita or her new condo to Shannon Bedore. And Shannon's like, oh, this is nice. This is not very nice. And you just felt unfair because you're like, oh, in any other world, this wouldn't be happening. But, it felt like sometimes she would be unfairly picked on just because of a tax bracket. But Gina has, gotten out of a bad relationship. She's in a good relationship with Travis, even though Travis, by the way, I I am the I speak the quietest of any cast member on any Bravo show ever. I speak very quietly. But he seems like a really good guy. And there seems to be in this first episode already issues where he's potentially going to have to move out, something to do with his ex. But Gina now is in real estate. Get Gina on selling the OC, baby. What's up? It's me, Gina Oppenheim Brothers. What's up? So she's like selling houses. She's in the real estate game. She's like on the way up. So I like to see that for her. So I think that's great to see her kind of thrive. Now, Jen Pedranti, this is her second season. She had the yoga studio, moving in with Ryan, getting engaged to Ryan, and then Ryan now is embroiled in, some really bad business, having $60 million allegedly wind up in his account. It involves Dodgers baseball. It involves the FBI. And they picked up cameras at the end of this season to film the aftermath of this. And you even see a little clip of it with Tamara going, how about the FBI, Brian? And Eddie Judge is like, Tamara, Tamara, don't say that, Tamara. Do not say that. So this is also the other thing as Bravo fans, when we've watched so many seasons, so many years, it's that feeling we get when we're like, oh, that's not right. And Jen Pedranti seems so nice, really does. Seems like a family woman. She's obviously had, tried to find her own happiness, with her ex-husband, had to go through all of that, but seems like a kind-hearted person. And then Ryan comes on the scene, and we just met him for the first time last season. And it's one of those things. I liken it to the feeling where I always talk about, like Jen Shaw when she explained what she did for work. And it was that one reunion, and she just kind of said a bunch of stuff and none of it made sense. And we all just kind of accepted it. But I think deep down we were like, hey, that doesn't make sense. That's not right. Or even like Tom Girardi, how it was like, wait, I know lawyers make a lot of money, but that much money? That doesn't make sense. But we kind of put it to bed because the show doesn't make a big deal out of it. And then all of a sudden the law gets involved. And Ryan, not financially, but Ryan just kind of seemed like an off character, right? Where we were like, but I think we're a little more savvy. Maybe we're a little less savvy. Who knows? That we wake up and we're like, Ryan, it's kind of weird. Like Jen, Ryan's a little weird. Nice guy. Seems like nice guy outwardly, but a little weird. And she's going to have to deal with that. And she's going to have to deal with the sins of her fiance, which is going to probably turn into a storyline for Tamara. And you're like, oh man, because we see where this road is headed because we have so many examples. I want to remind people, this is the 100th season of a Housewives show. Tonight's episode was the start of the 100th season of a Housewives show. You've watched, potentially, if you watched every Housewives season, you've watched 100 seasons of Housewives. Put that on your tombstone, baby. You did something with your life. Congratulations. So we have that. Now, Kate Janella who is the new cast member, Katie Janela, sorry. I don't know a lot about her yet. I'm excited to find out more. We find out that she's one of Sutton's friend. I'll say, Katie. Oh, it's me, Sutton. She's under the guise of that he's looking for real estate, and Sutton's like, well, I know a great real estate agent in OC. Her name's Gina. I'll say. So I love that Sutton is involved in some way, and that Sutton that that Gina has already made such a splash in the real estate world, which she might have. She made already such a splash that the news has traveled down to Beverly Hills, where Sutton's, flipping through real estate. Oh, I'll say, that's one of my brethren. That's one of my sisterhood of housewives. She's really making a name in the real estate game. I'm gonna tell my new friend Katie Janela about that. And that's just that kind of little connection that gets Katie onto the show. So those are the people that we are working with. Did I leave anybody out? So that's who we were working with. And that's what I think altogether that proves for it's going to be an amazing season. And it takes a lot. So it takes anticipation, which we had between seasons. It takes being 18 seasons into a show. We all know Orange County. We all have favorite seasons of Orange County. You have this insane relationship breaking up, including Shannon running her car into a house and having to deal with potential alcohol issues. So that's something that we want to see. You have Tamra that talks about this stuff year round on her podcast and knows how to dredge up drama. You have Heather Dubrow, who comes from just an insanely wealthy tax bracket and knows it. You have Gina on the come up. You have Emily kind of finding her way on her own. And, it seems like I really do actually love seeing her family. And you have Jen Padronti dealing with a relationship, newly engaged, where this guy could potentially go to jail now. Yeah, I would say that's a pretty damn flippin' good season. So are you ready, folks? Let's get into the recap. Okay, folks, this episode is entitled X's and OCs. You see what they did there? X's like Johnny J, and OCs, X's and O's, but OC, Real Housewives. Brilliant title. And this is the show description that we get from the cable company. Shannon is doing her best to move forward as she faces the consequences from her DUI. Emily deals with a new gym obsession. Relationships are put to the test as both Gina and Jen explore new living arrangements with their partners. Now, this is a very full description. Usually from the cable company, we'll get like Shannon ran into a brick wall. Like that's what we'll get. So great. So we start off the episode and we see like a big Orange County sign, not a graphic, an actual physical sign, but underneath it we have like the music from Paranormal Activity. It's like, and you're like, oh my God, this is evil. And it says September 7th, 2023. And we cut back to the reunion, September 7th, 2023, a day that will live in infamy. And we hear Shannon Bedore like, do I like to go out and drink a little bit? For you to say that I need rehab? For you to say that I am calling people every single night for a breathalyze? And Gina's like, you don't want to look at that at all, Shannon? 10 days after the reunion, we see 10 days after the reunion pop up on the screen and we hear a voice say, Shannon Bedore drove her car into a house. And we see all of these flashing headlines. Real Housewives of Orange County star Shannon Bedore arrested for DUI, hit and run. And then we hear like a news reporter, you can see some of the damage left behind with this car barreling into this apartment. And then we cut to Heather Dubrow looking the most serious I've ever, not like just like empathetic serious, talking to Shannon Bedore. And you're like, oh my God. And it's like a clean faced Shannon revealing things that John Jansen told her. John said to me, you're a drunken idiot, got in the car and lost control. And then Shannon shows on her phone a picture to Heather Dubrow of Shannon Bedore with blood like the movie Carrie, like the pig's blood, just blood streaming down her face. I was like, this is the first photo that we've seen of this. Like just blood dripping down the face. Like I was like, oh my God. And Heather Dubrow's like, oh my God. Oh my God. Then we cut to 5 months later and Emily's like, how do you feel? And she's like, I'm continuing to working on myself. I was just making a lot of very poor decisions. And Emily's like, do you drink? And Shannon's like, I'm like a 2-drink max person. And Emily's like, huh. So she says, I'm a 2-drink max person. And I think the surprise here on Emily's face, or that she's trying to mask, is that, hey, maybe wouldn't you be a 0-drink person potentially? That's what we're going to be dealing with probably this season, is a lot of people judging that she is still an any drink person. And then we cut to Tamra. So these are all like quick cuts. Tamra's like, don't you think, I mean, come on, don't you think that she has a problem? And Heather's like, yes, I do. Cut back to Emily. Emily's like, do you ever feel like choosing sobriety is the best thing for you? And she's like, I don't do it that often, Emily. And then Gina, we cut to her. Gina's in a chef's hat, looks like Chef Boyardee from Jersey. And she's like, the reason I don't drink anymore, I see her 20 years down the line. Ah. And she's, all I'm looking at is the Chef Boyardee hat. She's like, I see what that looks like. I don't like that. When I see that, I don't like it. And then we cut to like a low lit dinner scene, and Shannon Bedore going, every day I wake up, I think about what happened. And then Tamara goes, is that after you had a drink? Is that after you have a drink? This is the kind of friendship I'm talking about. That Tamara, you might not agree with Shannon Bedore. Obviously, she made some really big mistakes. But Tamara there making like little quippy comments like, oh, Shannon says, I think about this every day of my life. And then Tamara throws in, is that after you have a drink? Like, it's just brutal. I mean, it's like funny for a second, but that's brutal. And then we have Shannon Bedore, and she's like wearing like this blue, it looks like a crochet dress. You guys gotta see this dress. It's like, you saw it, like blue crochet. She looks great, but it still does look like a full crochet. She's like, I am done with people telling people that I am the drunk that needs help, because I am not. I had a really bad night. I don't want to go out. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm ruining my makeup. And she's like touching her eyes. I gotta go. I gotta go. And then it's just a focus on that empty chair. And then we start. That's the opening to Real Housewives of Orange County. And so that's why I say this is obviously already a Shannon-centric season. But they did this great thing immediately because they addressed her accident. They addressed how other people feel about it. They show that Tamara is making little snarky comments. They show that Heather thinks she does have an alcohol problem. We have Emily asking her, and Shannon revealing she's a 2-drink person. We have Gina saying, I didn't want to wind up like that. That's why I see that. I don't want to wind up like that. Jeez. And then we open up with they're all holding their oranges, and we cut. It's like a nice, bright, sunny day in the OC. We have some fun music. We see some bikes driving on the boardwalk. We see like a car, and then we zoom into Shane Simpson, Emily's husband, and they're on the bed. And Shane has one of those like Theragun, the massage guns. And he's like, oh, and he's got to put it on her butt. And he's like, hey, and he like puts it right in the middle of her butt. This Shane Simpson, he loves butt stuff. So we see that they're happy. Then we cut on over to Jen Pedranti teaching yoga, and Shannon Bedore's there going, whoo, whoo, whoo. She's like, that's not 10 seconds. I can't hold this pose for 10 seconds. And then we cut on over to Heather's new house in Beverly Hills, and she's talking to Terry DeBro, the king of botched. And Heather is like, have you seen the house that was next to ours in the OC, literally sold for $183 million with a helipad, a museum, all of these things? And then Terry's like, should we put a helipad in here? And Heather's like, no, that is a very poor joke, Terry DeBro. And then we cut on over to Gina's, and Gina has all her kids, Nicholas, and what's her daughter's name? I don't know. Anyways, she's telling the kids not to eat raw meat, which is, I think, an important lesson to learn at any age. But she's telling the kids, you don't want to have raw meat. And they're like, why? And she's like, because you could have diarrhea. The best case you have diarrhea, worst case you die. And all the kids are like, oh my God. And then we cut on over to Tamra, and Tamra immediately goes, Eddie's on the bed, and he's putting these like, I don't know, it's like some exercise thing on your legs to heal them. He's like so into fitness, but it's like these 2 things on your leg. And she's like, look what I found, a cock ring. Look what I found, a cock ring. And she's like taking his leg things off because she wants to put on the cock ring, I'm assuming. By the way, this is a family show. If I could talk to the kids in the audience right now, let me explain to you what a cock ring is. It's when it's when you love it's when you love somebody's penis so much you get a ring for it. You make a commitment to. I'm sorry. And then you guys, we cut to Shred's Gym, Shredz Gym. I guess that's the new Cut Fitness. And we see Chen Pedranti walking in, and she's like, "Oh, of course, Tamara's here already." So Tamara's there. Tamara gives Jen a big hug. She's already there warming up, and Tamara says, "Oh, my pit smell. How's everything been?" And Tamara's like, "Busy as hell. We're splitting half the time between Big Bear and Orange County, and we see Tamara and Eddie's Big Bear house. It looks amazing." Jen says, "Tamara and I think, are moving past everything that happened between us." And we flash back to 2023 of Tamara going, "You're not the only fucking person who fucking," and like them just screaming at each other. Classic Tamara. Tamara at the reunion saying, "I hope Ryan has changed. You deserve happiness, Jen. You deserve happiness." Jen says, "I see Tamara as who she is. Keeping it light and easy is exactly where I want to keep it with Tamara." So then Emily Simpson walks in. Emily looks like just like buff, like just not buff, but just really in shape. She shows up, hugs with Tamara, hugs with Jen. And you see that she's like a boss babe now. She is working out. It is funny that the housewives all like go in different, like a lot of us in life, right? We choose different things to like attach ourselves to, like different chapters of our lives. And for some housewives, Tamara included, it has become fitness. Remember when Teresa Giudice, Giudice did the fitness competition, and then Tamara did the fitness competition, and Emily's not there yet, but like, will Emily do a fitness competition? No. So Emily's like, "Listen, in the last year, I've lost 40 pounds, which was a combination of things, a little bit of Ozempic, a little bit of liposuction in my arms, and it was busting her ass in the gym," she says. And she says, "Then it becomes obsessive because I don't want to slip back into old habits." And she says, "It's better than raging a chain, over the whole house." And then she's like, "Oh, I could lift Shane, actually." By the way, Shane wants to work you out in the bedroom, Emily. But we see a bunch of clips of Emily at the gym, like doing squats with like, I mean, she can outlift me, I'm sure, but good for her. I love this for her. She looks amazing. Um, so we're back in the gym. The ladies are doing some light band work. And like Emily trips over the band and Tamara goes, "Okay, Shannon. Okay, Shannon." Anyways, we cut to Shannon Bedore's house and we see the star of the OC. That's right. Archie Bedore, Shannon's beautiful, beautiful dog. Archie immediately sees the camera, gives it one of those like The Office kind of like looks to camera, like, "What the fuck am I doing here?" Like, guys, it has been a right. Hey, take it from me, Archie the dog. It has been a rough year, folks. Rough, rough. You know what I'm talking about? Rough, rough, rough. I'm not barking. It's been rough here. Please, just don't try to upset my mom. Anyway, Sophie, Shannon's daughter, is 22, is there. Adeline is there as well, and Shannon is having a Diet Coke, and she says it's huge for her to have a Diet Coke. Now Stella, 18, is there as well. Now we have all three daughters there right now, and that means when all three of them together, we need to talk about RHOC. That's right, the ladies of RHOC. Dreamcatcher, Dreamcatcher. Remember that season when Shannon enrolled them in like that rock and roll camp and they were the ladies of RHOC? I think Dreamcatcher, to me, I mean, they are the precursor of like Sabrina Carpenter's, and like, I think truly if they had really stuck with it, they could be where Sabrina Carpenter is today. Period. I mean, where is Ladies of RHOC? Where's their espresso song? So we find out from Shannon in the talking head that she's like, "I am an empty nester," which is like the worst possible time for Shannon to be alone. She moved to a rental. It's 3 bedrooms. She can walk to the beach every day, which is probably good that she's not driving, but she says, "I don't need the space anymore." Now, the girls, they're all eating at like the kitchen nook. And she lets us know that Sophie is a senior at Baylor University. Adeline is in New York City at Parsons School of Design. And Stella is part of the USC transfers to Paris. So she's going to Paris. What the hell? And they're kind of making fun of her, like, "Oh my God, I love Paris. Oh my God." And Shannon says she's been to 9 countries in her first semester. Honestly, really living her best life. And the daughter says, I'm doing a once in a lifetime thing. Sorry that I talk about it all the time. I'm sorry you're so jelly. And then Archie is just like, you see Archie, and Archie's just like, guys, can we just bring it down? Can we bring the tone down? I'm just so stressed out right now. So Shannon starts tearing up. She's like, I took Adeline to college. I took you to college with your dad. It was my intent to come and visit you. But because of, and she's tearing up, she's like, my mistakes. I wasn't able to come and I feel bad. And she looks up at the sky like, oh, help me, Jesus. And she's like, I'm sorry. I'm humiliated. I'm so sorry I disappointed you. And she's like, what kind of example am I? And she says, the daughter says, we're glad you're okay. No one was hurt, and that you take accountability for your actions and that you learn for them and you grow. Hell yeah, ladies of RHOC. This is how you love, right? Like, yes, this is how you support. But I like that they all said that, like that you're learning, you're growing, we still love you, totally. And then she goes into the night of the event. She's like, the night of the accident, me and John Jansen got into a big argument. He said, you're a drunken idiot. Don't get in your car. But I got into an accident seconds later because I revved up the engine so he could know how mad I was, and I lost control of the car. Immediately, she says, oh my God. So her and John Jansen got into a fight that was so intense that she was like, I'm out of here. And then she revved the engine so he could hear it. That's how close we're talking. The house she hit was from John Jansen's. So she was drunk trying to I am livid, trying to rev that engine, and ran right into a house that is so damn dark. Oh my God. But life will thank God. No, honestly, thank God nobody was hurt. Thank God it was just the house. Honestly, thank the dear. Could you imagine? I mean, this is bad enough already, but oh my God, thank God. But this John Jansen, this was such a toxic relationship. So she continues on with the girl. She's like, I've never broken a bone. I've never got a concussion. I've never been in an accident. I've never been arrested. I've never had a DUI. And I did all of that in 10 seconds. Don't give up on your dreams, folks. It can still happen to you. You can get all of that stuff done within 10. No, seriously, this is a great warning. You can actually take something from this. Don't, this is you could screw up so much in just 10 seconds. The daughter says, this sucks, but this happens for a reason. And Shannon's like, God has a plan. I absolutely believe that. I always like that God has a plan. It's like I was talking about the other week. If I really think the universe, it's just the universe. The universe God has a plan. I sometimes just God has a plan. God must be a Housewives fan, because if this is part of the plan for Shannon Bedore, he's like, what would actually make for a really decent season 18 opener? If now hear me out, everybody, hear me out, angels. What if she is leaving that Johnny J, the bad boy? She's leaving that house. She revs her engine. We run her in her car. Nobody's hurt, but at least, is that part of the plan? I know you're probably saying, yeah, it is, but I just think sometimes the universe and God, I do believe life, anyways, life does try to teach you lessons, right? But man, extreme lesson. So the girl's saying you need to find the initiative about why things happen in your life and why you keep certain people in your life when they necessarily shouldn't be there. And Shannon's like, yeah, I'm kind of seeing who my true friends are. We cut back to the gym, and Jen says she saw Shannon the other day, and Tamara's like, she's working out? Did she fall down a lot? God, Tamara. Jen says, I have a soft spot for Shannon. We flash back to 1 week earlier where Shannon tells Jen, I'm doing my best to turn this into a positive. I'm doing a wellness program for a month. And, with a psychiatrist and a therapist there. And Jen's like, you are doing the work, girl. You are doing that work. Jen in the talking head is saying, when you are feeling the rug pulled out from you and you are literally at rock bottom, you need a friend. Yes. Jen is telling at the gym saying, hey, Tres Amigas, Tamara, you just backed out. And Tamara's like, yeah, it was right after her DUI. She was basically on this tour of telling people and the press that she wasn't drinking. She was drinking Diet Coke. So we're in the green room. There's a bar. She's over there looking, and pouring vodka into this drink. Tamara in the talking head says, Shannon and I put this live show together with Vicky, and it was a lot about drinking. And I didn't know if it was in good taste to do a show right after Shannon's DUI. Stop, take a beat, try to figure out what's going on in your life. Stop drinking. And I just lost respect, Tamara says. Tamara tells Jen she could have killed herself. She could have killed her fucking dog. How dare you bring Archie into this in this way, Tamara? No, I mean, all of that stuff makes complete sense, right? But the Trace Amigas, and we said this at the time, and in my vibe or my feeling was, and Tamara is contradicting this, was that they were like they didn't cancel it. They were all systems go. But she's kind of making it seem like Shannon was the one that wanted to be all systems go. But yeah, I don't think it takes a rocket scientist. That show was primarily around them getting like lit and being goofy on stage, right? Like that's the Trace Amigas clips that I remember seeing, because they've done this for a bit. But also, I mean, and just to leave the show, Tamara, I mean, she really feels she has a leg to stand on. But then it's like the constant making fun of Shannon is the part that I don't necessarily understand. Like if you're doing something out of worry or concern for somebody or that they're going down a bad path, you can remove yourself from the situation. But the constant jabs is the thing that I don't necessarily understand. To me, that feels like a little bit showy and a little bit performative of like, I'm better than this and I will now make fun of you. And I don't love that. So we cut back to Shannon's place and Shannon's like, I haven't heard from a lot of people, from some people. And the girls are like, that's really, really weird after what happened with John. And Shannon says, yeah, well, he's now dating somebody else that they all know. And I just don't want John in my life. And we see a picture of Johnny, big swinging dick Johnny J with Alexis Bellino. And she's like, I don't want him in my life anymore. But for him to be publicly displaying his relationship right now so quickly after we ended things, it's hurtful. In Talking Head, she says, the last time I talked to John was 10 days after my DUI. He called me and said, I'm cutting ties with you. I'm ruining your life and you've ruined my family's lives because of the publicness of who you are. 6 weeks later, he starts dating Alexis Bellino, she says, the one who started the ball rolling. And the lawsuit, we have this flash on screen of the lawsuit. And a lot of people forget about the lawsuit, right? So the headline comes on screen. Jim Bellino files 1 million lawsuit against former co-stars Tamara and Shannon Bedore. A 1 million lawsuit. That's why Jim Bellino, by the way, Jim, if you're listening, I love you. I'm not saying anything bad about you. I love you. Hey, good guy. Good guy. We're not going to sue me. Keep it up, buddy. So for those who don't know or don't remember, can't recall the details surrounding this lawsuit, I got it right in front of me. Bellino v. Tamra. And this is James Bellino against Tamra Judge. And then also Shannon Bedore was a part of it. But what I'm reading from is just from the Tamra aspect of it. And the court documents say, during a podcast, Judge and Bedore made comments about James Bellino, the ex-husband of Judge's former Real Housewives of Orange County castmate. Bellino and his company, Jump Management Co., sued the women for defamation and other related claims. Because remember, he owned a trampoline park. So Judge filed a special motion to strike the first, second, and fourth claims in anyways, a lot of lawyers speak that they get paid big bucks for. But here is the background on what happened. On June 26, 2018, Judge Ann Bedore appeared at the Irvine Improv Comedy Club to appear on the podcast Juicy Scoop with Heather McDonald before a live audience. Part of the conversation involved the recent Bellino divorce. Judge said about the Bellinos, I have a theory. Everything's in her name. He's going to jail. Yeah, he's a shady motherfucker. McDonald then asked, do they still have the trampoline parks? Does anyone know? Miss Bedore said, no, I heard that they don't. Heather said they sold it. Shannon said, I heard they don't because they were sued. Heather says, so there wasn't like a lawsuit of someone like that. And Shannon said, no, they were sued. Kids, people get there. I won't let my kids go because people get paralyzed. And that's apparently what happens. No, people get paralyzed and apparently that happens. So there were 6 claims against him that, were for the defamation portion. And, more than 100 people heard this at the show. He's going to jail. The persons who heard the foregoing statement reasonably understood that it was about Jim Bellino and reasonably understood it to mean that Bellino had committed a crime and therefore was going to jail. This is wild. There's a anti-slap motion in here. which by the way, bravo docket, if you're listening, you should cover this whole thing. This would actually be very interesting. Um, but this is wild. They had to settle this. There was real money. It looks like won in this case. And that is setting up. So that's another reason why this is very painful for Shannon. Not only the John Jansen, but that she had to pay over $300,000 because of this. This all stems from Alexis. And I do wonder, it is interesting because Tama has really like welcomed Alexis back in. And I find that really fascinating as well. Now, this is obviously Jim doing this lawsuit, but Alexis, I would imagine, had some sway in this lawsuit as well. And so it's very weird, or very, I guess, very Tamara to keep Alexis this close to her, because I would figure she would be equally kind of suspect of this. And I wonder if there's any trepidation coming into this, with these housewives, Shannon and Tamara, of like, are we safe to like actually say what we want to say on these shows? Are we, and by the way, is Johnny J going to sue Shannon for defamation? I mean, it just opens up so many different things that I think it would make me very wary to then, like, just think about how fucked up that is, right? Like, Shannon was in a lawsuit with Alexis Bellino's ex-husband, and now John Jansen is her boyfriend, her forever, as Alexis says. And Shannon has some really negative things, I think rightfully so, to be said about John Jansen. And I just feel like, Shannon, this whole season is going to be like, is this a safe space? Am I safe to actually say what I want? Is this all going to be used against me in a court of law? I mean, so it's not just the John Jansen stuff. The lawsuit was a very, very real thing that you kind of got to pay attention to. And that's why I think it is so shady for these producers to bring Alexis back. And that's what I would love, those conversations. And I would really love to know, and maybe you guys know that listen to Tamara's podcast, maybe she's, talked about this. Let me know if she has. There's no joke here. Is that how did she feel comfortable, having this person on that also caused her financial damage at one? Oh my God, you guys, you don't even understand the last 2.5 hours. So right after I talked like that last thing, the power went out. And for the last 2.5 hours, I have been sans power, freaking out because I don't have cell phone service up here either, because it's like really spotty service. So I was like, holy shit, I'm not going to be. And by the way, like, who needs this recap? But I'm like, I need to get out this I thought I was like ahead of schedule, and now I'm behind schedule. Anywho, where we left off, I'm just so excited the power's back on. The ghost of Lisa Rinna came and knocked my power. I'm going to get you, Ryan. It's me, Lisa. Anywho, so yeah, Jim Bellino sued over defamation, and they settled out of court. I think this is just insane. And just think about that. Just think about that's the person that comes back to your screen, and how more upset Shannon would be. And to be honest, I don't know why. I know it's Jim Bellino, which, by the way, like we're going to keep saying, huge fan of Jim Bellino. Don't sue me. I love you. I think you are a top-notch guy, and I love you. I love you. Period. Sorry. Oh my God. It's okay. I got it. Yeah, be professional, Ryan. Anyways, Jim Bellino, great guy. So just imagine that this is I like Alexis, but she doesn't seem to have a great track record with dudes. Like, does Johnny J have to hang out with Jim Bellino now? I'm so curious how, and by the way, is Jim Bellino going to be on the show at some point? And is John Jansen going to be on the show? Or are we just going to talk about John Jansen? Is he going to be like Snuffleupagus from Sesame Street? You just always talk like it's the legend of Johnny J. He can never be on the show because he's so busy sleeping after having sex the whole night. Oh God. I mean, this is really, truly a nightmare. It's already heartbreaking when a relationship breaks up, especially, obviously if it's toxic, there's a lot of pain there. But imagine it being Alexis. Imagine you're on the same TV show. And by the way, Heather Dubrow said in an interview today that she was already like in talks to come back. But listen, I don't know if that's true or not, but it had to really have sweetened the pot, the fact that she was dating Johnny J. And it just makes you think, man, these producers, they can sometimes get gnarly. I mean, that's, I would think, everybody's worst nightmare in a sense. Then we're back in Shannon, one of Shannon's daughters, like, he's an embarrassment to this family that he was ever involved. I am filling with rage thinking about him. I love Shannon's daughters. And then back to Tamra in the gym. Tamra's doing that exercise where you're opening your legs up and squeezing for strong inner thighs and talking like, "Hey, was Shannon ever friends with Alexis?" And it was like, "No." Tamara's like, "No, she was never friends with Alexis," you know? But it's brought up again that, Emily knows that Alexis's husband, Jim Bellino, sued them. So Emily's sharing that with Jen and Tamara. And Tamara says in 2018, Jim Bellino sued Shannon and I for defamation. The case has been closed. I can't really talk about any kind of settlement, but we both lost a lot of money. Shannon lost 300,000, I lost 500,000. And Tamara's like, she wasn't married to him at the time. So Alexis is this is what Tamara's saying. Alexis has nothing to do with it. She wasn't married to him at the time. But imagine losing 300,000. Imagine losing 500,000. Tamara, sometimes it feels like Tamara is so close to Alexis just to stick it to Shannon even more. I mean, imagine, uh, imagine losing $500,000 because you said something about Jim Bellino. Jim Bellino. I mean, that's just an insane amount of money to lose, and for Tamara to be calm about it in this scene. Anyways, Alexis does not agree with what he did. She had no involvement in it, Tamara says. And Tamara goes, "Do you want to hear karma? God's saying to her, after crashing your car and almost killing you, and potentially other people, I'm going to give your boyfriend to the girl you hate the most." Tamara, what? Why? Why are you going this hard? You're now saying this is karma from God? I mean, that is fucked up. I'm sorry. That makes me livid. And I guess Tamara is that essential housewife character that has to say that thing that we all get upset by. And I know there's a portion of the audience that might agree with that, but that is just, man, kicking somebody when they're down, it never pays off. And Emily's like, "That is some serious karma right there." Back to Shannon, the daughter says, "If you ever see John with his new girlfriend, the most empowering thing, will you just, like, walk right by?" And Shannon's like, "I feel like I don't want to argue, so I just let things go. I'm not gonna be that person anymore. If someone upsets me, if someone does something cruel to me, I'm gonna tell them what they've done. I'm not a victim. Let it be known I have no fear," Shannon Bedore says in a talking head. "I'm not gonna sit there in a corner and avoid Alexis Bellino. Nobody put Shannon Bedore in a corner." Shannon says, "I'm gonna walk right up to her and say, 'Let's just get this conversation out of the way. Enjoy my sloppy seconds,'" she tells her daughters. And the daughters are all like, "Gross." Imagine, like, imagine your mom going, "Enjoy my sloppy seconds." You'd be like, "Mom, what are you doing? Please, mom, put your pants on. It's horrible." So we come back from our first commercial break and we're at Heather's new house in Beverly Hills. They do an aerial shot and they see it's like this huge circular driveway. This thing already just oozes money, so much so that you're like, wait, why can't Heather pull double duty and do Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? I mean, it does. I am kind of curious about that. Anyways, Terry and Heather, another Terry DeBro scene. They give each other a kiss. And she's like, "So this is what we need to go over. Zach is coming over to talk about budgets, our contractor. Ohad is coming over from Circa to talk about the guest house. And Mike is coming to work on the landscaping." By the way, that cracks me up. The do not open on the refrigerator. I can't believe we're living like this. And they're construction everywhere. And she's like, "I'm always looking for a new project. After we sold the old house for $55 million, we were looking at this new house in Beverly Hills, and they really wanted in the low 40s. They're talking $40 million, but they said, we got it for 16 million. How do you get it for 24 million less than the asking price? Is Terry DeBro gonna give free botched plastic surgery on the sellers? So they're looking at what they can do with the house, and it's 8.3 acres. They also have an LA penthouse, which she says is only 2 bedrooms. So that place is a dump. Fuck that place. They need the 8.3 acres. She says, "We need a family home. Enter Beverly Hills. This house, we're gonna take down to the studs. But in the meantime, I threw some stage furniture, and we moved in. So Terry's like, "And the landscaping, how we in? 500,000? 2 to 3? Okay." And so we see this whole montage where Heather's doing what Heather does best. Take this chair over here and put it over there. Let's like destroy the toilet and put a big vat of mud over here. The house was built in the 1940s. She lets us know Cary Grant's been at this one. Lana Turner lived there. All these different people. I feel like Heather Dubrow is about to be like Charlie Chaplin used to have butt orgies right in this house. You can still hear the screams. Um, so they're going over the house, and it really does look insane. So they said doing the remodel, they're gonna come in at like $32 million. And Heather's like, "I kept walking around, if these walls could talk." And then they go up to the attic and they're like, "Oh my god, there's a box with a wig in it." And I was like, "Oh my god, Kim Zolciak Biermann is living in Heather Dubrow's attic," because it's just like this creepy shot of a wig. I was like, "Oh my god." I mean, it really does look like one of Kim Zolciak's old Atlanta wigs. And I was like, this is also, I mean, like who like that was Cary Grant's weird wig in the 1940s. They put it up here in the attic for safekeeping. Um, so they said, "We're gonna have a party when this is all built," and then Terry's like, "Or a stroke," which is not funny because Terry actually did have a stroke last year. So, anyways, Heather's like, "Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming. Can you believe how many places we're living in, Terry?" And Terry's like, "I thought when we sold the house, we would be in a more relaxed situation." And Heather goes, Terry, I'm right there with you. But this is what we do, Terry. I mean, that's the kind of vibe. This is my purpose in life. She says the twins are off at college. Katarina is in junior in high school. Ace is now 13, officially a teenager. It's always an adjustment to move, but the kids are in a good school in LA that they're really thriving at. And she says, I mean, between this place and the penthouse and the Bay Club, Terry's like, Bay Club, isn't it better that you don't have to drive every day? And Terry's like, awesome. It's the closest I've ever been to the office. Plus, it's good because then we can see your mom more. And we flash back to Laura, Terry's mom, where Heather is, saying, listen, listen, Terry's mom, we have bought a place at the Balboa Bay Club for the last 7 months, so we can see you more. That great, we can see you more often. And the mom's kind of just like, okay, like it's just wild. But also just to think that Terry used to drive from OC to his office in Beverly Hills. Guys, that's like a 2-hour drive with like really bad traffic. So, I mean, how much did Terry want to be out of that house? Like, I wonder if he's kind of like, oh, I miss OC. I miss my 2-hour drives. Anyways, Heather, it goes, I think it's good for everyone. Kids are good. We're good. Your mom is good. Well, speaking of fun, Terry, as long as we're at the Bay Club, I thought I'd throw a party. And Terry's like, at the Bay Club? And then we see flashbacks to 5 days earlier. She's FaceTiming with Tamra. I'm going to do a little New Year fresh start lunch. Alexis is invited. She's a friend of mine. And then Tamra goes, well, and plus nobody's talking to Shannon. Tamra, we get it. You hate Shannon. We get it. We get it. There's no sympathy or empathy there. If this is how we're going to be all season, it's going to be a long season. By the way, Tamara, you can tell, is in Big Bear. She has like this big old winter hat that says Harley Davidson motorcycles on it. But it's like, yeah, we get it. God, why do you? It's just so gross to me. Heather goes, we're going to have a very lovely, nothing's going to happen, beautiful lunch. So we're back to Terry, and she says, I'm in a better place with all the girls. And I thought, okay, time for a fresh start, a little reset. But remember what happened. Be cautious of some people. And then we flash back to 2022, where we get this whole montage of all of the fights, of everybody screaming at each other. This is a raucous group. And Terry goes, I don't want to see you go through what you went through last year. That was too much. Hopefully everybody will be nice, Terry, and I'm going to have lots of activities. That'll be fun. What activity? You're already rich. Just give people free food and drink. I mean, maybe just give them a little cash too. We don't need activities. What do they like do a sound bath? We don't need that. I swear to God, if she does a murder mystery party, I'm going to jump out the window. So Terry's like, "Sounds very expensive." It's not nearly gonna be as expensive. Remember that first season back 2 seasons ago when she, like, threw out, like, $30,000 worth of sushi or something insane? And I used to dream about I used to dream about literally just hiding away in one of the rooms they didn't use at that old place, and just imagine that night they threw out the sushi. Like, imagine, like, if I worked at staff there, I would be in those trash cans, just coming home with, like, 600 pounds of ahi tuna. Oh my god, that must have been the best day for that waitstaff. Anyways, Heather's like, "Go back to work because I don't know if we can afford it." LOL, Heather. Hey, by the way, Heather, what happened to, like, the business venture last year with, like, the Mark Cuban thing and what was it, like, Fire Sign? Like, what happened to that? All of the businesses that have come and gone over the, like, past 100 seasons of Housewives, I mean, this could be a full-time it could be like a docu-series on that will last forever. So we're out of that scene, and we, go over to Emily's, and, Emily's playing with, Togo, her dog, and Gina gets out of the car, so by the way, they don't have a brand new how they do the thing where, like, they'll start the scene and then it'll say Emily, and, like, Emily will, like, have her, like, little hand on her hip, and it seems like they're using old pictures of Emily. I feel like we should have, like, zhuzhed up these little pictures. I feel like they've earned it. Emily has, like, a whole new figure and body. Like, we she deserves this. My god. Anyways, Gina's like, "Hey, I'm here." What's happening here? And Emily's like, I was trying to make you a salad. You still trying to cook? It's so weird. Emily says she's been renovating her house for 2 years, but we finally moved on to the kitchen, and it has been a nightmare, she lets us know. She hasn't had a kitchen sink for weeks. And, Gina now, Miss Real Estate, she's like, "I feel like I need a hard hat." But Emily says, "Look, I'm happy because it was stuck in the '90s, kinda like Shane's wardrobe. Heyo!" Poor Shane taking strays everywhere. Like, "Tell me what's going on with your big house, Gina. Are you gonna sell it?" And she's like, "Well, I'm listing the La Quinta home for Elizabeth." And that's Elizabeth Vargas, who was on the cast 3 seasons ago, remember, right? And she lists her renovated La Quinta estate for $9 million. So that's a really big listing for Gina, I would imagine. I wonder if that's Elizabeth Vargas trying to get back on the show in some way. But listen, good for Gina, right? I mean, that's a big listing. Like, actually, speaking of Elizabeth, Elizabeth's brother, Andrew, he bumped into Shannon on New Year's Eve. Oh, yeah? In the market, and she had, like, a shopping cart full of booze. That doesn't seem on a track. Okay, what I would love to get to the bottom of this. Like, listen, even if you are a stone cold alcoholic, a shopping cart full of booze, do you really think listen, Elizabeth Vargas, no offense to her, kind of a kooky character. Don't know her brother Andrew that well. But do you really think Shannon Bedore, in the year of our Lord 2024, or whenever they shot this, do you think she would be tooling around a grocery store with a shopping cart full of booze after what she went through? I'm not saying she doesn't have a problem. I'm not saying any of that, but like, do you really think she would be that dumb? If you say yes, you must be Tamra. Thanks for listening, Tamra. No, it just seems like such a weird detail. She's like, I know that I got tortured by this woman over something that I took full responsibility for years ago. And then we go back to 2021, talking about Gina's DUI and Shannon going, I helped her with her DUI. It would have gone to Child Protective Services. And we see John Jansen with her in that flashback. And then we do another scene last season where Shannon's like, and they were going to arrest you in the morning. It's not true. And in Talking Head, she says, I have no relationship with Shannon, and I don't believe in kicking someone down. But seeing all the news coming in, you know, about DUI. I mean, an eye for an eye, Which, listen, I'm glad that Gina doesn't like to kick people when they're down. And by the way, she does have a right to feel how she feels because Shannon did say these horrible things with her. Part of Shannon's poor reunion performance was really in how she dealt with that Gina thing, the Gina debacle. And I think that's the thing that is sometimes really frustrating about Shannon because we do root for her, but she does sometimes say things or embellish things or, kind of I don't know. So I think this is hopefully it's been a huge learning lesson for Miss Shannon Bedore. Yeah, anyways. Emily says, do you think she should just be alcohol free going forward? Well, I think she should have went to rehab. And Emily goes, "Well, yeah, I think so too." Well, I feel like Shannon spiraled right into a house. And then Emily in a talking head goes, "Can you imagine Archie in the back seat?" He's just like, "What the fuck?" Some poor Archie, he needs to go into like witness protection program. He just like you see him next time, he has like a Fu Manchu mustache and like some kind of wig on, hide. We just hit a house, Shannon. 10 and 2, Shannon. 10 and Emily says, "What's going on with you?" She's like, "Well, and Emily's like, "You're making me nervous." Okay. I mean, I love Travis, right? The hardest part about my relationship is not my relationship. I And Emily's like, "Is it the outside factors?" Yeah. The problem with Emily is when we started dating 4.5 years ago, we were both freshly divorced, and now everything like, Matt is wonderful, and we're co-parenting, and it's great. The problem is Travis is still getting dragged down by his baggage and his ex, and he's not fully through the divorce because he can't fully through all of that because she won't allow it. They're divorced though, right, Elise? Well, they're bifurcated. I don't even know what bifurcated fucking means. In a talking head, she says, Travis has a person who is dedicated to making his life miserable. Oh, is it Tamara? No. I'm joking. It's just really hard to live with somebody else's ex-wife. I feel like in my home, it's me, Travis, 6 kids, and Travis's baggage. And it's too much. Also, like when we moved in together, Emily, the kids were tiny. And then we flash back to 2021, seeing the kids' bunk beds. Remember when Shannon went in there and she was like, what's going on here? Now they need space. They need privacy. And we went and we looked at houses and we looked at what it takes to get into a house the size of our family, and we can't afford it. What is your gut telling you need to do, Emily? There's soft, tense music playing. Like, honestly, my gut's telling me that we need to live separately. Oof. And see where the chips land. And Emily says, "I'm sorry you're going through that. That's a lot. That's really difficult." And Emily says, "I'm devastated that Gina's struggling with Travis, but it seems like there's a little voice in the back of her head that says, 'You're really not just outgrowing your house, you're outgrowing Travis as well.'" This has been really, really difficult and heavy. I get scared because I don't want to be alone. She's starting to tear up. It sucks again, you know? Travis, he's the first person that I feel like I'm truly in love with. I don't ever wanna break his heart, and I don't wanna live without him, but I just know inside that if I don't try this, that I'm gonna lose him. Oh, man, this is such a and by the way, this is a great example of Emily being a good friend, of just listening and saying, "I'm sorry you're going through that." That's the example of a good friend. Because I listen to this and I just think, "Man, that is brutal." So they can't afford it. But the answer is to move separately. I feel like you're putting more roadblocks in the way. So is it that the kids are growing up and that the ex-wife is because the ex-wife is always going to be the ex-wife. You're never going to be able to fully escape that. So I don't know. It's there seems probably to be more information about this that will come out, but I kind of feel really bad about this because it does seem like they're good, and you don't want them to live separately because when that happens, you don't know what's going to happen. I don't know that this kind of completely bummed me out. She's like, "It sucks," and she's crying in the talking head. And so then they're just, she's like, "I'm out of room and I'm out of time. Here's the door, Shannon Bedore." I don't know. So, anyways, I feel bad about this because Travis really does, and Gina seems really nice, but Travis is such a soft spoken, seems just like a good. So we come back from commercial and we have Jen Pedranti and Ryan, and they're walking into a restaurant, and he's like, "You gonna have a drink tonight?" She's like, "I think I am," and he's like, "I think I am too," and because you know where I'm taking you later tonight, and she's like, "Where?" And he goes, "Downtown." Ugh! Oh my god, this is like out of the John Jansen playbook. Down to where you taking downtown? He's like, "Ha ha ha ha! I'm Ryan." Anyways, they get seated for the dinner. I'm sure everybody's grossed out that heard them say this. And, so they're ordering, and Ryan always seems like really happy to be there. He's like, "I'm feeling very blessed tonight. Do you guys have Malibu rum and Diet Pepsi?" First off, that's a wild, okay, that's a wild drink order. Like you would think like maybe like a nice wine or something like that, a Malibu rum, and then not a Diet Coke, a Diet Pepsi. right then and there, that put my like little like, wait, something is way who who by choice orders a Diet Pepsi? I'm sorry. Diet Coke is the one that's the only thing like, you know how people go hard for certain people or you know like I know one thing to be true in this world and that Diet Coke is the number one diet dark drink out there. Diet Pepsi can like Diet Pepsi said the best thing Diet Pepsi ever did was that whole period of time when Britney Spears was like promoting them. That kind of was like, oh, maybe Diet Pepsi okay. Diet Pepsi sucks, man. And you know what? Diet Pepsi you immediately get sad when you're at a place like the airport. Airports can like seem like they only have Diet Pepsi. Or have you ever been to a restaurant where it's like it's Diet Pepsi and you're like, oh, it's so sad because you realize that like Diet Coke might be like like a nickel more for that restaurant. And they're like, we'll go with the cheaper option. Never go with the cheaper option when it comes to Diet Coke. It just can't be replicated. But Malibu rum and a Diet Pepsi, like I'm like FBI, they should have just swarmed him at that point. I don't even know what he did financially, but that's a crime right there. A Diet Pepsi and Malibu rum? What are we gonna do? Some Goldschlager next? Anyways, he's like, "You made it today, Jen. You were all over the place." She's like, "I'm always all over the place. I need to slow down. There's so much going on. I feel so busy. It's tough right now, babe. Your divorce isn't final, and it falls on you because you're the one, you know, you want to keep the kids whole during all of this." And she says, "I don't wanna make date night a downer, but we need to have this conversation. I gotta figure out what the kids and I are gonna do." And in Talking Heads, she says, "Last year we had a beautiful home," and we flash back to that in 2023, and, you know, we see a clip of that, but then the owner of the home ended up selling the house, so Gina helped me get into the perfect house. "It's big enough for my family," she says, "but now we are being evicted." And Ryan says, "We talked to the landlord," and she's like, "Yeah, I've been talking to the landlord just to catch myself up on rent." I feel like it was like a number of like 24,000 or something. And in a talking head, she says, "Since Will and I separated, we have made very little progress in my divorce. Unfortunately, it's taken Will a long time to turn in financials. He was responsible for the lion's share of the rent, and I was responsible for a small portion. But then I started seeing a group text with Will and I and the owner of the home saying, I received partial payment of the rent. Are you going to pay the rest of the rent?" She tells Ryan, "I feel like I'm asking you and my dad to catch me up, but I still can't even breathe because then the next month rolls around and my dad's footing my attorney bills. The yoga studio doesn't pay enough for me to cover rent." She says in a talking head, "I get paid $50 a class and Will is no longer working for the family," which that's a huge piece of information. Remember, one of the big bones of contention was that the family was like closer to Will, her ex-husband in some ways. And he was paying for the majority of that. It's a really sticky situation. But she says, so neither of us were able to pay rent. And he says, "I would rather, babe, have you and the kid just move in with me." And she says, "I know you say that, but are you thinking the whole thing through?" And he says, "I think it's the next logical step. It's like the path of least resistance. What if you and I fall apart, Ryan? We can't stay. I got to figure it out again." And he says, "Everything I hear you say is on the worst case scenario." Yeah, because everything feels like that right now. And she starts tearing up. Let me like point out Shannon's already teared up, Gina's already teared up, Jen Pedrante's already teared up. If we're keeping score of the tearing up, this is an amazing season so far. We've got like most per capita tears for first 30 minutes of the first season. I mean, the first episode of this season. Anyways, Ryan's like, "What if you allow yourself to go to the other side where you say, what if it all worked out like we planned? And why wouldn't it work out?" And you can tell she wants to believe him. And he grasps her hands and she exhales. And he says, "We got this, babe." She says, "Yeah, yeah." And then she goes, "Show me that thing." Like, let me look at your crotch area. I don't know what that even meant, but I'm just assuming it was perverted. But, you know, what's so sad is that we know where like, we know, like, dude, this guy, this whole baseball Otani, I don't know if you followed the Dodger thing, like, he put, like, $16 million or 60 million, something insane, like, an insane I think it was $60 million into this dude's account, into Ryan's account, like, that all of a sudden, I mean, there's some bad stuff happening, like, I just will never understand ever, and it shows the male ego that if you know you were involved in some sort of financial impropriety, how you would ever decide that, you know what, the girl that's on TV, I need to really try to get into that relationship even further. Why would you ever do that? It always is going to come out. Like there's more of a lens on you in those situations. I don't know. I just feel really bad for Jen. She seems like a good person. Anyways, now we cut over to Heather, and Heather's at a restaurant, and Heather's like, "Do you have any espresso martinis?" And the waitress is like, "It's my favorite drink." And we're like, "We didn't ask you. What are you trying to be like a star here? Let's get Heather's espresso martinis." But Heather's like, "I'll try it." Like this is her first espresso martini. Now Emily sits down and Emily wants an espresso martini as well. And so Heather immediately goes in and goes, "Do you know on your Instagram, your explore page, my whole explore page is mother son first dances." Emily goes, "You must have liked something about mothers." And she goes, "I know, but have you seen them? The ones where it's like almost a goodbye, giving your son over to this hoe." And right when it says to this hoe, they give a shot of Alexis Molino walking out of her chauffeured car. And she's like walking in, and you see like the cross, like the diamond cross around her necklace. But like literally, Heather Dubrow says, "This hoe." And then they cut to Alexis Polino walking in. I'm telling you, these editors are on fire. I mean, nothing but positive things to say. If you don't think Tamara's being shady, the editors are being shady. If you don't think the editors are being shady, the producers are being shady. They have come to win this season. I love that I'm talking about it like a sports team. Like they're looking good. Defense looking good. Offense looking great. Line coaches, awesome. So also the fact that Heather Dubrow, his explore page, is like already preparing for the moment that she has to give her son away to some floozy. I mean, that's classic Heather Dubrow. Anyways, Emily says, Heather, what happened with Shannon? And Heather Dubrow says, "Shannon and I barely speak, Emily, and it's very nice of me to invite her to the party because I don't want her to be kicked when she's down. I don't want her to be left out. But now I'm the asshole." And then we flash back to Heather Dubrow FaceTiming Shannon like she FaceTimed all the girls, and she says, "I wanted to call you because Alexis Bellino is gonna be at this party. Alexis and I are friends and have been for quite some time." And Shannon goes, "I'll just think about it and get back to you." And Heather goes, "Okay, sounds good." Like, kind of like not even like, I get it, Shannon." She's like, "Okay, sounds good. Okay." And by the way, Shannon's phone has this thing that she puts her like hands through on the back, and it says like HD in bling. That's very Heather Dubrow. HD, Heather Dubrow, HD TV, baby. Heather goes, "In any event, I always invite everyone, Emily. I don't want people to left out." And then all of a sudden, Alexis Bellino walks up. "Hello, I'm back." And Emily's like, "Hey." And Heather's like, "Hey." And so, they're doing all the hugs, all that whole business. And they're like, "You look so pretty. No, you look so pretty. Oh my God." Heather's like, "Oh my God, Alexis, it's like we're coordinating." And then she lets us know in a talking head, obviously me and Alexis have a long history. And back to 2012 with Alexis, Bellino, and Heather goes, "I'm still trying to figure you out. I hope that you're a sweet, cool, great girl, because that's the girl I want to get to know." And then Alexis saying, "You saying that means a lot." And then Heather's like in a talking head goes, "Alexis has had probably the worst year of her life." Well, I mean, right up there with Shannon, I would think. Her mother, who she was very, very close with, passed away. She needs friends right now. And I want to provide that for her. It's so funny. By the way, Alexis, obviously, with her mom passing away, I watched that journey on Instagram and how long she went through it, and nothing but love for her, and what a painful journey that is. I definitely know a lot of us know out there. But it is interesting. Sometimes not anything to do with Alexis, but sometimes like Heather or any housewives, you're like, I want to be a good friend to her. That's what I want to do. And it's like, do you really? Or do you want to just like, these are the people that are cast on the show and you got to hang out with them. And yeah, like, it's good if I'm nice. It's like charity in a sense. I'm sure like, I do wonder if it's a mix of both, and how self-aware these housewives are, if they almost convince themselves they're being good people. But I don't know, of course, your heart goes out to Alexis. By the way, Alexis is in deep mourning, and that's probably what drove her into the loins of Dirty Johnny J. I'm never going to be able to stop saying Johnny J. Anyways, the waitress comes back up, and she's only seen sparkling water, Alexis. And so they say, "Alexis, how have you been?" And Heather goes, "Well, you've had a lot of life changes." And Emily goes, "Can I ask you about the ring that John got you?" And we flash back to that Instagram post with her like sparkly nails, the ring, and it says hashtag not engaged, hashtag promised. Johnny J gave her a promise ring. I thought that shit was like for like people like when they're like 18 and their like loins were burning and they're like, I just want to have sex with you. Oh, I'm gonna make a promise to you. It's not an official. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like it's like a young love kind of a thing, a promise ring. Or like when like people are going off to war and they're like, I don't have money for an engagement ring, but this is like, I got this little jinky ring and a thrift. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, Heather gets her glasses out to look at this promise ring. She's like, it's very nice. And then we cut to Alexis Bellino. Alexis Bellino in a talking head. And I swear to God, I shit you not, there's like light sax music in the background, like doo doo doo. And she says, sorry. I can't. Sorry. One sec. Sorry, I had to catch my breath. Okay, so in the talking head, she goes, November 18th is the day that John Jansen walked into my life. And there's like serene music. And we see November 18th, 2023, and we see the Quiet Woman restaurant that we've seen so many times on the show. And she says, I met John, the Quiet Woman. Shannon does not own the Quiet Woman. I've been going there for over 2 decades. But anywho, John walks in and ends up sitting at my booth. We tried to fight the feelings. After week two, John and I knew that was it. We tried to fight what is this, Skinamax? Is this like softcore porn? We tried to fight our loins were doing the talking. I can't fight this feeling anymore. Johnny J is what I'm fighting for. Give me that promise ring and put it on my finger. I am yours forever, Johnny J. Take me to bed or lose me forever and have sex with me 4 times a night. God, I get better as a vocalist the longer I do this show. But just this thought of the quiet, by the way, the Quiet Woman has to be fucking haunted. I mean, this is like a Harry Potter Horcrux. Like this is like the Lost, like in Lost, the island that they're all trapped on. I just feel like nothing good. By the way, I've been to the Quiet Woman, had a blast, but it just seems like so much bad shit happens at the Quiet Woman. Like it's you would think the OC only has like 3 restaurants. It's ridiculous, but I like that it's like everybody in the OC pops, like everybody in the OC is just at the Quiet Woman. Like, I've been going to the Quiet Woman for 2 decades. We were seated next to each other and the heat was electric. By the way, the first time I went to the Quiet Woman was with Danny Pellegrino. This was before I did this podcast. It was Danny had like a thing where he did the OC ropes course, and it was like I think like 15 of us met so many people that day. And actually, that was the first time I met Kate Casey. I knew about Kate Casey before, but she came, hung out with her, and Emily and Gina. It was their first season. They had just done their first season. They came, and that was so awesome. And then Shannon Bedore walked in with this dude. It was in between, you know, David, you know, after the divorce and separation of David, remember she was like dating like a bigger guy, and they walked in the Quiet Woman and then looked and like immediately saw Emily and Gina, and she was like, oh no, and had to come over and say hi. And I was like sneaking, like trying to film and take photos with my phone, and she clocked it immediately and like stared directly at me, and I was like, oh no, I'm sorry, Shannon, I'm sorry. But man, it was a great night. But that night ended with me, Danny, and Matt, I think, dancing to Mr. Jones by Counting Crows. One of the best nights of my life. So great. Anyways, let's get back to the Skinamax John Jansen story. And she lets us know, I don't know Shannon. I'm not friends with Shannon. And unfortunately, your heart wants what it wants. And here we are. Take us or leave us. This is such a great romantic story. Emily goes, can I ask you something? And Alexis goes, this is going to be hard for me because I don't want to come in like with you right now, Emily. And I mean, we should probably had a conversation on the phone. So I heard the podcast with Tamara, Emily, and we flash back to the Twats pod where Tamara says somebody had written a story that John was going to be filming. And Emily says, I can't imagine John Jansen filming. Like, what a doucher. And Alexis says, unfortunately, it really hurt my feelings. Well, let me throw my 2 cents in. Unfortunately, that was an amazing I mean, that's amazing audio. Emily, I agree with you. It's a full douchebag move. I'm sorry, Alexis. I like you a lot. I do not like this Johnny J. No matter how electric your private parts are together, I don't like it. And I'm going to throw a tantrum. But I think that's anybody's natural reaction. Like, Alexis, you've got to understand these are people that hung out with John Jansen, that knew Shannon and John Jansen. How would she not think he was a doucher? The onus is on you to show people, to show these new friends or old friends from OC why this man is a great man, why he is now the love of your life, why you have that amazing promised ring on your finger, right? The onus is on you because I think you would understand why certain people, especially on that cast, think he's and I'll use Emily's, a doucher. So Alexa says, unfortunately, it really hurt my feelings, Emily. And where did you get that information about John with Shannon? Did you go out with him? And Emily's like, I was there. I went out with them. I've been there for 3 years. And we cut back to 2021 with Johnny J angry talking to Shannon going, "Fuck Gina. Fuck Gina. Who the fuck does she think she is? I'm John fucking Jansen. Fuck her. She's not your friend. We're done with her. Johnny Jansen out." And Alexa standing up for him, saying that was a private conversation with his girlfriend at the time, standing up for her because he's an amazing man. He's the most amazing Johnny J I've ever met in my life. And Emily goes, "You have to understand for 3 years, Shannon's been telling me nothing except that he never pays for anything. He takes advantage of me. Do you trust a drunk who just got a DUI? Do you trust her opinion? You've never heard John's side." Alexis, I'm happy you're back. Let's cool it. I mean, I like that she comes in guns blazing, but like, listen, this is Real Housewives. It's not real Johnny J, and let's listen to Johnny J. No, I'm sorry. John Jansen can go do his show on like WeTV or some shit. I'm here to watch these ladies' stories. But Alexis going hard in the paint for her new boyfriend, just like she used to do for Jim Bellino, remember? Like it was Jim's way or the hideaway. Um, so Emily and I talking that says Alexis clearly feels the need to come in and defend her man. Heather goes, "The only thing I worry about you as my friend, it's fast." Emily says her man that she's been dating for like a month now. At this point, I know John better than you do. The producer goes, "Is he a douchebag?" And Emily, God bless Emily, says, "Yes, he is a douchebag." Yeah, let's not get it twisted. The man probably is a douchebag. Does he still deserve love? Sure, fine. Go live your life off camera, right? Yes, he is a doucher. So Alexa says, "All I ask is just give him a chance. When you get to know him, you're going to love him as much as I do. He's my Johnny J. Please, let's have nobody love this man as much as you love him." Emily can't, Emily's with Shane. She can't do that. Your body's already sore from working out. Nobody needs to love Johnny J as much as you love him. You should be the top of that. Nobody else. You just need to learn to live with him. That's all we can ask for at this point. He's my Johnny J. He's my Johnny J. That's going to be my new ringtone. He's my Johnny J. He's my Johnny J. Yeah. And then Heather goes, "The Johnny J rebound is mildly epic." And then Heather in a talking head goes, "I have not heard a better rebrand since Mayo went to aioli." Heyo, rich person joke. We like our aiolis. Johnny J, love it, Heather says. And then Emily goes, "Can I ask you a question, Alexis? How do you feel about seeing Shannon at her party?" Here's the thing, Emily. I have no ill will. I just want to squash the elephant in the room. There's a pause. And Emily goes, "I feel like she's going to spiral." And then Alexis says, "I'm just not going to play into her spiraling. I'm just not going to do it. No, not with the love that I have for Johnny J and the." So we pick back up another beautiful day in the OC, and we cut to Michael L. Fell, a professional law attorney, and Shannon comes in. "Hey, hi, I'm here to see Mike. Thank you." Michael comes in. "Hi, Shannon. Hi. How have you been?" "Good. How have you been, Shannon?" I'm doing well. I still struggle with everything that's happened, but, well, you know what, Shannon? We learn from these things, right? As long as my bills are paid, and as long as you are paying my probably exorbitant per hour fee. But he says, "Hey, so you were sentenced to 3 years of probation. If you successfully complete probation, we can petition the court to let us withdraw your plea of no contest and enter a plea of not guilty and have your case dismissed." And she's like, "Ah, but that's just the part of me that wants to accept responsibility for what I did. So, like, I don't wanna get any special favors." Well, if you successfully complete probation, Shannon, that's something you and everybody else has a right to petition the court for. In a talking head, she says, "As far as my punishment for the DUI, the courts had me sign up for an alcohol school that lasts for 9 months, and then I'm also doing 40 hours of community service for the church," which, by the way, Shannon was on Jeff Lewis Live, which, by the way, I'm on tomorrow morning with Justin Martindale. Check it out on Sirius Radio Andy Channel 102. But she was on last Friday with Jeff, and she was talking about her church community service, and she works at, like, their Goodwill, and she works in the back. She wants to work in the back, and she, like, takes the clothes and folds them. And she says there's really nice stuff that comes in there. And then she was revealed saying, like, sometimes she, like, keeps the stuff for people or something. I don't know. Maybe I misheard, but I was like, that's wild. That is it's so funny that I don't know. Anyways, Shannon Medore, I love that she's doing the community service. I love all of that. And also, do you think part of, and this isn't karma, but maybe the courts listen, hey, you got to do 90 hours of the class, you got to do 40 hours of community service, and Alexis Bellino is going to have to date John Jansen. Like, maybe that really is truly part of the court mandated punishment. But Shannon says, this has all been very good for me. I never would drink and drive. I mean, I lecture my kids. I talk to my friends about it. Flashback to 2020, her talking about getting a DUI is the stupidest thing you can do in today's world. She's talking to Kelly Dodd, and Kelly Dodd going, "There's no reason for it." Now, back in this scene, she says, "I mean, it's like I'm a complete hypocrite." And he goes, "If you're in the position, Shannon, where you see another person who shouldn't drive and you share your story or somehow stop them from driving, all of a sudden it makes the whole thing worth something." At a certain point in the talking head, she says, "You have to say, I know what I'm doing for myself to learn and make myself a better person, and I have to cancel out the noise. I'm going to continue to grow." And that's what the important thing is. I'm holding myself accountable to myself. "I feel like my whole life is starting over," she tells the lawyer. "So I just got to keep moving forward. Some days are easier than others, but thank you." And you can tell he's like, "Okay, well, our time's up. Let's go. This isn't a therapist's office. Let's rock and roll." But listen, I am you want, like, I've said this now a million times. I mean, you do want the best for her, and she's had to eat a lot of crow. About this situation, and continues, and maybe really truly something good can come of this. You never know, right? So we get out of that scene, more beautiful OC locales, and all of a sudden, it's a scene with Tamra and her daughter. Her daughter is in this. Sophia, who is her daughter, she's 18 years old, and we have not seen her in 10 years because her dad wouldn't let her be on the show. Now, I got to tell you, Sophia, she is my favorite character. I probably of OC. I mean, like, already, she's just like, so like, "What's up, mom?" Like, she has like the nose ring. She seems like no nonsense. I love her. I love the two, like her and her brother. I don't like older Ryan. Like, they went off and went, like, he saw one episode of Yellowstone last year and then all of a sudden decided to become a rancher. But I love these two kids. And I love that her daughter seems like no nonsense. Anyways, they're going off to do a mother daughter tattoo. And Tim was like, "Hey, what if you meet a guy saying I don't like tattoos on arms?" And Sophia's like, "I don't give a fuck." And Tamara's like, "Watch your language, LOL." He says, "You haven't seen Sophia in 10 years because her dad would not sign the agreement to allow her to film." And Tamara says, "Have you talked to your dad at all?" And Sophia says, "I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that." I love it. She's like, no nonsense. But Tamara says, "She's been living with me this entire time. She is now 18 and getting ready to go to college." And we do a flashback in 2010 of Sophia as this really young, sweet girl, which is very cute. We've watched these kids grow up. I mean, we haven't really watched her grow up because she hasn't been on TV in 10 years. Anyways, Tamara says, "It's so funny because Sophia's so chill." And then she says, "You need to teach me how to do that winged eyeliner." And she's like, "You just take the pen and you do it." Tamara goes, "She's just a very kind soul. Clearly, I'm not like that." And we do a flashback of all Tamara seeing, like, "I'm none of your fucking business." Her running naked, her hiding in the bushes. Tamara says, "She's such a good kid. I don't know where the hell it came from. So anyways, they pull up to this tattoo parlor, and Sophia says, "You're not gonna freak out, are you, Mom?" So they go into this tattoo place, and, we see the tattoo, like, "Good vibes only." We meet Rico, the tattoo artist. So Sophia wants to get a moon, and she wants it, like, right above, like, the other side of her elbow. And Tamara says both of her brothers have tattoos. At first, it bothered me, and now I don't know. I just really want my kids to be able to express themselves how they want to. And a talking head, she says, I think with Ryan, I was so worried about him getting all those tattoos because times were different back then. We flash back to 2008 when, remember, he got nugget on his lip, and she's like, "Why would you do that?" Oh man, remember those like Ryan and then her, remember her ex-husband would always like, try to like, knock some sense into Ryan. He was like, "Leave me alone. You're not my dad, dude." Anyways, Tamara says her only request now is if you get a tattoo on your face, you're dead to me. Anyways, Tamara wants to get angel numbers 111. I'm shocked she's not getting like, "Hey, fuck Shannon Bedore" on there, but let's do angel numbers. Anyways, Tamara says, "Every time I see 111, I always make the same wish that maybe one day Sydney will come home." And now Tamara's tearing up. And by the way, Sophia, there's this reaction shot of Sophia not reacting at all, going, "Oh God, yeah, mom's filming a scene. The old waterworks. I'm not going to participate in this." Because remember, she has the other daughter that won't have anything to do with Tamara. I don't know where that is with that, but she's tearing up, like going 111, makes me think of Sydney. And the daughter feels you can tell the daughter feels very awkward. It's almost like in an improv scene and the other person is just not responding to you at all. So Tamara goes, "I know you don't want to talk about her, but you're ruining my scene right now." And Sophia goes, "Yeah, I don't want to talk about her." And then kind of gives her like a half-hearted hug, like, "Yeah, here you go, bud. We're here to get tattooed." Tamara says, I've always been super close to Sophia. I was very close to Sydney. 2016 flashback of the reunion. My oldest daughter, Sydney, said, I don't want to live with you anymore. You ruined my dad's life. Left that day and has not come back. But with Sophia, we talk all the time. I tell her that I love her all the time. She says, I'm so happy that you and your brother Spencer are so close. Do you ever think that you guys would be that close? And she said, I hated them when I was younger. Unfortunately, Sydney's on Simon's side. She doesn't really speak to any of us. It's difficult. It's like your child's dead, but they're still alive. I mean, that is a horrible. I mean, it is horrible. I mean, I would be curious what Sydney's side of that is. And, it just goes to show you we all go through horrible things. Like families are fractured, relationships are fractured across the boat. I don't know any one person that hasn't had something kind of horrible be a part of their lives. So you do kind of have empathy for Tamara in this moment. And I was wondering if this is also another one of those things why she is so not angry, but she does like what she finds unfair, she'll go after like hardcore and that she can be very cold. I don't know. I'm trying to figure Tamara out because I want to think of her more as a person instead of a character on a reality show. Anyways, she says, You know me, Sophia, I worry about a million things. And Sophia says, Keep them in your head. Don't talk to me. Talk to your therapist, not me. And I'm like, God, I love Sophia. Give Sophia an orange. Anyway, so we're doing the tattoo, 111, you know, we see Tamara's non-belly button belly button. We see Sophia get the moon, and she's like, "Hey, it just feels like somebody's dragging a needle across my skin." And Tamara's like, "That's what he's doing." Ah, okay, so we both have tattoos. Mom and daughter tattoos. I love it. So then we get out of that scene and we go over to Gina's, and we see Meatball, Gina's dog. Travis is there, and she's like, "You always give the dogs treats, Gina." Just the quietest talker ever. And they sit down for this meal. It just like it looks like sandwiches, and Travis has like a little bag of like Lay's potato. You know those little bags you just open, and he has like his big Stanley. In fact, I think he has this Stanley. He doesn't have the TLC on it, but it's this color. And she's like, "So I wanted to talk to you. There is an available house. Uh, we should go look at it." He's like, "Okay." The intentions are it'll be temporary, and it's just more space, and it's what I feel we feel that the kids need and all that. But I'm, like, nervous. And he goes, "I mean, we've worked 4.5 years to build this nucleus of a family that isn't." a traditional family, but it's a freaking really awesome family, and whether you think that it's really pulling it apart or not, it's pulling it apart for sure. Pause. And they're talking that she goes, "My kids have been through so much since my divorce with Nick, and Travis has supported me through some of the worst times in my entire life." We flash back to 2019, Antine going, "Your ex was arrested in Orange County on suspicion of domestic violence for crying and talking to us. But sometimes as a parent, you have to do the thing that doesn't feel good because you know that it's in the best interest of everybody, even if it hurts." Well, I mean, the kids are getting bigger. They need more space, right? But the thing that keeps sticking out to me is the part about his ex-wife. That's the part that concerns me. Like the kid stuff totally makes sense, but the her adding the wife thing in there, that's the thing that kind of I don't know, that sticks in my craw. I keep thinking about it. I want more information. Anyways, she says, "I'm scared. Like we have to be able to also communicate to the kids what this is, and I don't want to confuse the kids. I just don't want them to think that we're breaking up." He goes, "I mean, it is what it is, you know." Them, they don't have a say in it. We make the decision and they live with it. "Do you think this is the right decision?" And he pauses. I mean, I don't, but I think this is a decision that has to be made. "Are you mad at me about it?" "I'm not mad at you about it." It's like pause. He almost seems like he's tearing up now. And it's just like awkward pausing. He's like, "Whatever, it doesn't matter. Whatever. It's gonna be what it's gonna be." So oh my god, my heart goes out to Travis. I want this couple. She's like, "I do value our family, our relationship, and it's the most important thing for me. So, uh, like, even you just be willing to try this is like a very clear indication of like how incredible you are. Like, that's why I don't want to lose this." Gentle music playing now, folks. I just don't want to lose you in the process of it, you know? And he's just like, "Yep. Well, neither of us has a crystal ball, so be positive. Go into it. Yeah, and see what happens." And he sniffles. Oh my god, it kinda breaks your heart. Travis, also, let's use, maybe, like, a bigger voice. I mean, but by the way, he's quiet but powerful. Let's turn it into a positive. Quiet but powerful. Okay, so now it's like the big Heather Dubrow luncheon day that everybody is, gonna be at, Alexis and Shannon, like, the meeting of the mind. So all the ladies are getting ready, and I was gonna skip past that, but then there was like this little scene where Alexis, Bellino, and Emily are riding over together, and Alexis is like playing with her necklace, and she's like, "I need an espresso because I was up all night with Johnny J." And Emily's like, "Wait, you're tired because you had sex so many times? Is that what you're talking about it?" And she's like, yeah, we got a lot of, oh my God. This is like crimes against humanity. Anyways, Gina picks up our new cast member, Katie Janela. And, we're finally seeing the new cast member. And she's like, "You're so pretty, Katie." Katie says, "I met Gina because I was talking to my friend Sutton about moving to Orange County." And she said, I'll say, my friend Gina's an agent. You should actually reach out." So we met up and had coffee. I love Gina's zest for life. And, listen, so any friend of Sutton is a friend of mine. You know how I feel about Sutton. So Gina says, "I like she's young. She's my age. She's 39, not 59. I just want to live in my youth a little longer, you know?" Anyways, Gina warns Katie about the John Jansen situation. She's like, "I don't know the other woman. Her name is Alexis. They started dating and they went from 0 to 100, and Shannon's going to be there today. And so is Alexis." Katie, God, I want to talk to Katie because I want to know what that was like. Anyways, Alexis is in the car and says, "Hey, fill me in. Where do you think Shannon's headspace is right now?" And Emily's like, "I don't think anybody can fill you in on where Shannon is headspace right now." And then we cut to Shannon, and she's with Glam by Pam, who does all of the makeup for a lot of housewives, actually. And she's like literally like hand up or like down Shannon's like dress thing in a parking lot. And She's like, I don't want wrinkles in the dress. I just don't want wrinkles in the dress. Back to Alexis and saying, I'm just going in with an open mind and heart, and I hope that Shannon can. I don't know what I'm walking into. And Emma's like, I don't know either. And then we get into the car with Shannon and Glam by Pam, and Shannon is like stiff as a board, light as a feather. She's like, "Do I just lie like this so I don't get any lines in my black dress? Ah, ah, should I just go to the place like this? I just don't wanna have any lines. I don't wanna have any lines." Alexis, back in her car, says, "If she starts spouting off about John, I might have a problem." Wow, this Alexis is ready to go down for her man. Stand by your man. Do, do, do. By the way, Glam by Pam, she was on Jeff Lewis a couple weeks ago, and I was on right after her. And I talked to her briefly, and I said, "Oh my God, I saw you in the first episode." And she was like, "Oh my God, that was such an intense day." Like she's like, "I had to go with Shannon. I felt like I had to." I was like, "Yeah, she needs somebody to go with her. My God, she needs backup." Oh gosh. By the way, this is I'm not gonna say it. It's too much. It's too much. It's too much. Anyways, we go to the Heather's New Year, New Me party. And Heather's doing Heather going, "Okay, let's put the glasses around. I think I fixed most of these. These are a little let's move this over here." She says, "I know some people, Emily, think I'm crazy about my party details." And we flash back to last season going like, "Is there dressing on this? I feel like I'm eating sand. I feel like we're branded with HDs everywhere because Emily had a, few too many. Hysterical." But Heather says, "There are no logos, no initials of mine anywhere, no cucumbers, and no sand." I love that Heather lets these things truly get to her. Like she's above it, but at the same time, it like it eats at her because like her life is so regimented. She's so type A. Everything is by Heather. Like, so when somebody says they don't like something that she put her heart and soul into, you can tell it really eats at her. Anyways, all the girls are coming out of their cars. Jen Pedranti comes. Heather's welcoming everybody. It's like slow-mo walking in. We meet Lauren, Heather's friend. It's a lot of, "Hi, you look amazing." By the way, it looks like Heather Dubrow has an espresso martini in her hand. So, like, didn't she just have her first espresso martini at the restaurant a couple of scenes ago? Heather is loving these espresso martinis. She's like, "I can't get enough." Anyways, Gina comes in like, "You look beautiful." "No, you look beautiful." "Wow." Anyways, like, "This is so nice. This is my friend Katie." And Heather's like, "We almost met at Sutton's house." "Well, it is a nice to meet you, Katie. Sutton has said great things about you." And then Katie in a talking head goes, "I've met Heather before, very briefly, but this is the first time that she said hello back." Oh, I love it. Already insinuating Heather's a little too cool for school with new people. Anyways, Heather's like, what is everybody drinking?" And Gina goes, "Do they have a sugar-free Red Bull?" Holy shit. I mean, sugar-free Red Bulls past a certain age is a choice. I mean, that's a choice. Even Celsius's. Celsius, I mean, you guys heard me when I had my first one last year. I thought I was like on the face of the sun. I've never felt I was like, there's no way this is legal. This feels like legal cocaine. Anyways, Katie gets a dirty martini, and Gina goes, "Dubrow knows how to do a party. There's a lot of stations, a lot of stations." She's like, "We have our lovely tarot card over here. There's permanent jewelry over here. Over there is the wishing wall and instructions and things you must do. Each lady gets 3 wishes on the wishing wall, and it'll be revealed later." And Gina's like, "It'll be revealed?" And Heather goes, "They're anonymous. You can say whatever you want." Which, by the way, it would be great if, like, my wish is for Alexis to perish. My wish is for Johnny J to get his penis chopped off. And you're like, "Who wrote that?" And Shannon's like, "It's not me. I swear. I swear." Anyways, Gina's like, "You got to be prepared at a bro party." And they all cheers. And Kitty's like, "Great to meet everybody. Thanks for inviting me." Um, so Jen, I guess, brought her friend Liz, and Gina goes, "I don't know any Jen's friends." And Gina says, "Jen called me over the summer, like, I need your help. I have to be out of my house in a week." We see Jen with the tarot card reader going, "Tell things are going to be good. Things are changing for the good," telling Jen Pedranti this. So obviously, this tarot card reader is potentially full of shit. No offense to the tarot card reader, but things aren't good for Jen Pedranti. Anyways, but Gina goes in a talking head, she's like, "Now I'm CC'd on all these emails about her falling behind on rent. It's stressful for me because I vouched for her." And Gina's new to the real estate game. "I'm new. I'm new in the real I can't be CC'd. I mean, BCC me, please." She's like, "As a new real estate agent, any negative press is bad. What is it like being on this show? Is it good?" Anyways, Jen comes up, hugs Gina, and she's like, "I don't know if Jen is even aware that there is an issue." Well, she is. We saw the scene with Ryan. Oh, man. It'd be awkward if Gina has to be like, "Where's the fucking 24K, bitch? Come on." Anyways, Gina goes, "There's a time and place for everything, and this is not it." What am I supposed to be like? "Oh, Jen, can you pass the crab leg? How's your eviction going?" Anyways, so then Tamra walks in. Ugh, Tamra. Anyways, um, Tamra rips some of her, like, jean or Gina bumps into it or something, or, like, her hose, I don't know. Anyways, we see slow-mo of Alexis Bellino and Emily getting out of their car. Every time Alexis is walking into somewhere, there's, like, this slow-mo and her, like, throwing her hair back. You can tell she really likes being back. Anyway, so they're walking in, and Emily's like, "Hey," walks in. And by the way, you know that they give call times for the entrances and act like the entrances at least. And so you know for this one, Shannon was the last. You know that they had all these ladies gather and Shannon was going to be the last one in. That's just what a good producer does. We saw this or we found this out for sure. Remember Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, that season with Denise Richards, where they stagger those entrances and they make it so it's the most dramatic. So people will sit there and be at this party or event and we'll talk about the person coming in before they get there and then everything's like ready to go when that person comes in for the ambush. Anyways, Alexis Bellino is like, "Oh, I'm seeing Tamara Barney, oh my gosh, have we had our downsides?" Yes. And we get a flashback to all of these downsides. Have we shit over each other? Yes. But I am so thankful for our friendship now, and she has patented them Jesus jugs. Thank you very much. They are beautiful, aren't they? By the way, these aren't the original Jesus jugs. She has different Jesus jugs now. Very, very minimal. Yeah, I'm not. Anyways, you know what I'm saying. So Alexis and Tamara are a-okay. Go figure. Ugh. So, anyways, Tamara sees Emily and goes, "I want to hear about your lunch with Shannon." Of course she does. And so we flash back to what we saw at the beginning of the episode with Emily and Shannon meeting, saying, "I don't really, I'm a 2 drink minimum kind of, person, anyways, a person now." And Emily's relating that to the girls, saying, "Shannon told me she has a maximum of 2 drinks." And Tamara's face is just like, "Huh, see, Heather, see?" And Emily repeats it. "She told me she has a maximum of 2 drinks." And then Tamara goes, "An hour? An hour? Dude, what? Why the constant shit? Like, if you're just going to be that person that throws in those little lines, there's got to be more." Anyways, there's got to be more. So Katie and Gina are looking at the wishing wall. The wishing wall is actually for like wish for other people in case like I don't really know anybody. So the other ladies are cheersing with their espresso martinis, and Emily takes a drink and they put this like 2024 like sugar thing that dissolves and Emily spits it out and it looks like a loogie. She says, "There's a loogie in my drink." I spit it back out. And Heather's like, "Oh my God." You can tell Heather's like, "Oh God." And Heather says, "So who's missing right now? Is it just Shannon?" And then we get out to Shannon's car. Shannon like slides out of her car to not, wrinkle her pretty dress. And she says, "Ever since the DUI, I have kept my circle very small and I haven't ventured out that much yet, you know? So I don't know where everybody stands with me at this point." So we have the slow mo walking in. She looks amazing, by the way. She says, "I don't know if people are going to be judging me. Who is comfortable walking into the unknown? But I'm not afraid. Not afraid." Shannon Bedore is not afraid. And Heather says, "I have heart palpitations for this. I need a propranolol." Um, anyway, so everybody sees Shannon walk in. They're like, "Shannon's here. Shannon's here. Code red, alpha, alpha, bravo, bravo." And we cut to commercial right at that part. So Shannon walks in. Heather greets her. It's like, "You look beautiful. Wow." And they do the hug thing. And she's like, "This is so weird." And Heather goes, "There's a 360 photo booth outside. There is." And Shannon's like, "Okay, let's go do it. Let's go do it." And then Gina's like, "I can't help it. I always feel bad for Shannon." Shannon's outside with the 360 going like, "I'm so bad at this 360 photo machine." And then the girls are talking with Alexis, and Jen's like, "This girl looks like a flippin' Barbie doll." So, like, that sucks, I think, in regard to Alexis Blino. You know what I mean? And Emily says, "That's why I can't ever leave Shane. Because if I divorce Shane, that motherfucker would date a 25-year-old hot chick." And Gina's like, "Yeah, that sucks. It sucks." Now Shannon comes up to Emily and Gina. "Hey, how are you?" There's like a light hug with Gina. And Shannon's like, "Hello." And Emily's like, "You good? You good? You good?" And then she's like, "I'm Katie. Hi, Shannon. Hi, Shannon. Love your dress." "Oh, thank you. Nice to meet you too." And I was like, "Look at your boobs in there, Shannon." It's a lot of stuff going on, Shannon says. It's just a lot of stuff going on. Now they're kind of rearranging her boobs. And Shannon's like, how have you been, Gina? How's Travis? How's Travis? He's good. And Gina goes, "I'm uncomfortable for you." And she's like, "It's okay. It's okay. I don't care. Like, I'm out of my relationship with Johnny J, and I'm grateful that I'm out of it." And we cut to the tarot card reader is sitting with Alexis, and the tarot card reader goes, "When's your boyfriend's birthday?" And she's like, "October 30th. He's a Scorpio." And she goes, "So you just have to encourage him for good communication. He's the best communicator." And the tarot reader's like, "Okay, that's good. Calm down. Calm down." Anyways, Shannon talks to Katie, the newbie, and goes, "I got a DUI that's just been the most humiliating, shameful. I've literally been in the darkest time that I've ever been, I think. And I think that maybe this had to happen for me to literally cut it clean and never go back. You know? You know? Good to meet you, Katie." And Gina's like, "I mean, you look great. You obviously are making great changes." And she's like, I'm trying. I never want anything bad for you, Shannon." And Shannon goes, "You and I really had some good fun times together, Gina. And I just hope that," and Gina goes, "I never know where we are. And last year," and Shannon goes, "I understand. I apologize for any and everything," Shannon says, "that I did to hurt you." And Gina's like, "Thank you. Oh my God, thank you. Because I don't want to hurt people, Gina." And Gina in a talking head goes, "I literally can't believe this is happening. Honestly, I never expected Shannon Bedore to apologize for me. I don't even really know what to do with this." And Gina in the scene goes, "You're doing great. You hold your head high. You'll get through it." In a talking head, she says, "I have no idea what version of Shannon Storms the Door we're on. What is it, Shannon 2.0, 3.0, 10.0, 12.0? Whichever version this is, I hope it sticks." So that's nice. And then in the scene, she goes, "You look really fucking good, Shannon." I love this because I want Shannon to have allies. And she's, "We've known each other for 7 years. And even though we never get along, I still feel like protected." She was like, "Thank you." And this is not, it's really not okay, Shannon says. "I don't know what else I can do. I think I should just walk up to her right now and say, 'Can we have a chat?'" Which, by the way, that's what Alexis said she was gonna do. And Sheena goes, "Okay, that's very brave. Huh? Good for you. Good for you." And Sheena goes, "Why not? You know, should I do it outside?" "Well, let me get a drink first." No, she doesn't say that. That's what I would be like. I got to pound a shot. So Shannon just walks over, walks right up to Alexis, and she kind of interrupts this conversation. And Alexa goes, "Oh, hi. Hi, Shannon." She goes, "Hi. Can we have a chat outside? Do you mind?" And Alexa's like, "Okay, sure. Okay. Yeah. All right." And Gina, she awkwardly walks by Gina, and Gina's like, "You got this. Come on. You got this." And Emily's like, "Red alert. Red alert. Red alert." So they all the ladies in the party are just watching Shannon and Alexis walk outside. And Heather goes, "Is it wrong to watch?" to Tamara. Like, by the way, that's the wrong person to ask. Tamara's like, "I wasn't even planning on asking." And Tamara's like, "Do you have a listening device?" And they're like, "Who reads lips? Who reads lips?" And Emily's like, "I speak Spanish, English, and lips." So they go outside. Shannon's like, "Can we move to the shade part? There's a lot of sun. Please." And Alexa says, "This is probably going to be a long conversation." And Shannon's like, "I don't think so." Um, so all the ladies inside are trying to find the primary spot to watch. A lot of sun, and Shannon is dragging this chair, like this table, and it's making that like grating noise, like. And Alex is like, hold on, lift up. So they're working together to get this table. It can working together to get this table to put their drinks on, which is nice. And so the girls are kind of upset that they're moving far ahead from their eyesight. Anyways, Gina goes, "This is what I love. This man has worked them both, and now they're gonna scrap? Is that fair? It's not fair. It's ridiculous. Good for you, Gina." And he says, "I've heard the word on the street, but I don't care how big John Jansen's penis is. I just don't care about John Jansen. If to be honest." Ooh. Yeah, by the way, I didn't was the word on the street? I mean, I know obviously this man can last all night, but I didn't realize that Johnny J was packing as well. And I don't want to know. Like, I don't like that. Those are like, I don't want to be on those mean streets of Orange County where people are talking about Johnny J's, unit. Yo, Johnny J's G unit. Anyways, Shannon goes, anyways, hi, Alexis. Hi. I don't want to like get into a deep conversation with you, Alexis, but there are a couple of things that I would like to say. I have been upset that you were involved in the lawsuit where your husband sued me as a single mom for 3 years. I don't want to tear up for 3 years. I went through such an emotional and financial difficulty. Anyways, inside, Tamara's like, Shannon's not letting her talk. Shannon's not letting her talk. Alexis is just nodding. Oh, Alexis is getting mad. She goes from 0 to 100 like that. Shannon says, I lost $300,000 defending myself for something that I didn't even do. And you started the lawsuit by sending me a cease and desist letter. Like, so in my eyes, you're part of it, Alexis. And Heather inside goes, that's not good. They're shaking heads. No, I can be in a room with you, Alexis, but I'm not interested in being best buddies. And I hope you can understand that. Alexis pauses and goes, I'm not asking to be best buddies. I know this is uncomfortable for both of us. When you're the ex and I'm the new, boom, brings it in, brings Johnny J in immediately. Shannon's talking about a lawsuit where she lost money and she brings in Johnny J. You're the old, I'm the new. Ooh. And Shannon just gulps her drink, which I think is just water. And Emily is just like trying to peek. We cut to commercial. Oh, how dare you cut to commercial? It's such a So we come back from the commercial, and I swear to God, the intro music is like, "Do, do, 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 do," and it kind of sounds like the theme from Halloween. Anyway, I'm just reading too much into this. So Shannon's like, I am not interested in being best buddies. So we pick up where we left up. I hope you can understand that. And then she says the line again, I'm not asking to be best buddies. I know this is uncomfortable for both of us. When you're the ex and I'm the new, and all the ladies inside go, oh my God, Alexis is talking. Alexis looks very calm. Oh my God. Oh my God. Emily spills her drink over Heather. And back in Alexis goes, the lawsuit. If you go back to any court document, Shannon, show me the proof of my name being on anything. I made it sure that Jim didn't put my name on anything. He goes, because Jim and I had been divorced for 6 months. Right. Shannon said, when he sued you. We're no longer, nope, it's my turn to talk, Shannon. I didn't speak when you spoke. And Shannon goes, oh, okay. Understood. We're going to play like that. Okay. Oh, we're getting a little angry now, huh, Alexis? In a talking head, Alexis goes, at this point, I'm baffled. None of it is the root of the problem. Well, yes and no. I mean, if I had to lose $300,000 because of your ex during a time years ago in 2019, yeah, that is part of the problem because then now my recent ex is dating you. It's all one bit. It's all connected, man. It's all the strings. Alexis goes, the root of the problem is you're mad that I have your boyfriend and you're not going to win the battle with him. You will not. Holy shit. Like Alexis, like it's intense. Shannon goes, keep going, Alexis. I'm listening. I wasn't angry at all, Shannon. Anyways, Emily now has found a stool to sit down while she watches. And they're like, Heather's like, oh my God, you're like spread eagle to the boats, Emily. And Emily goes, I can see both of them now. You're giving everyone a show, Emily. I don't even care about this. I wanna go back to Alexis and anyways, Tamara meets Katie at this point, but come on, I want back out with Shannon and Alexis. Anyways, Katie and they're talking and he goes, who doesn't love a little bit of tea? But this is like the NFL of tea. Anyways, Alexis back out there goes, I had nothing to do with it, Shannon. Tamara knows I wasn't involved. I don't know why you think I was. You sent Tamara and I a cease and desist letter. It was your signature, and I will dig it up. Move on, Shannon. Move on. The girls, they keep flashing back to the girls watching, which I know is supposed to be like fun, but like at the same time, I just care about this. And then Shane goes, are you going to write me a check for $300,000? And Alexa goes, "Pff." because that is what I lost, Alexis. And John was there during that whole time, knowing the anguish that I went through. That's a lot of money to lose, Alexis. Show me the letter, Shannon. Dig it up. Show me the letter with your signature on it. Oh, so you don't think you wrote it? Show me the letter, Shannon, because I think what the real issue is that I have your boy. She almost says boyfriend. I have your ex boyfriend who has a very large dick. No, she goes, that's what the real issue is. So guess what? Move on. Okay, okay, Alexis. We're moving forward in this relationship. Either look, here's what's going to happen. I'm not going to talk to you about anymore about the court case that has already been buried and done, Shannon. I'm done with it. I still about money, Alexis. It's not done for me. It's never done. It's never done. Alexis goes, you're not getting $1 from me. If you don't like it, here we go, folks. There's the door, Shannon Bador. I'm not talking any more about this. And Alexis takes her drink and walks away. And Shannon goes, oh, just so you know, I'm not, just so you know. And she goes, I'm not talking about it anymore, Shannon. Move on. Take John Jansen. Move on. I thank you for taking John Jansen from me, Alexis. And Alexis like is on the other side and goes, I'm thankful that he left you. And then Shannon literally looks at the camera like Jim Halpert from The Office and goes, perfect, perfect. You see, it was kind of like the text is like, see what you done? See what you guys have done? Perfect. Perfect. Oh my God. What a great first episode, you guys. Anyways, now cut back in and Tamara sees Alexis coming back in. She's like, okay, scatter like cockroaches. It's over. And Shannon is like, fuck her, and like looks behind her. To be continued. Ooh, you guys, this season on Real Housewives of Orange County, and they do scenes from this entire season. We see they're in Big Bear, Sonoma, Palm Springs, jolly old London. Maybe PK will be there. By the way, they Shannon revealed on Jeff Lewis's show as well that they had to split those vacations. Like Tamara and Shannon couldn't be together, so someone to Big Bear and someone to Palm Springs, which is so sad. At least Tamara has had has pulled the move eventually where she just it Tamara doesn't think it behooves her to be friends with Shannon, but she felt like it last season. Remember when Tamara was kind of like really wanting to be friends with Shannon, trying to convince Shannon to be friends with her? This makes me sad. Anyways, we see Sutton in a scene with Katie. She's like, have you met Heather? I say. And, you know, and Sutton's like, I wouldn't go up against Heather. I say I wouldn't. And then we see Katie and Heather arguing and Heather going, I didn't lie. And Katie's like, you did. Anyways, Emily has this storyline saying Heather looks at me like the big girl, which by the way, I know, Emily looks amazing now, but you'll always have that, like as a bigger person myself, like you always have that, you just always have this kind of, what's it called? Where you don't necessarily see the way you actually are. Anyways, I'm forgetting the name right now. I'm tired. Anyways, we see a scene of Tamara, like Shannon going, you need to stop. And Tamara going, stop what? Uncovering your bullshit? I don't know. It just seems like kicking somebody while they're down. We see Gina and Travis crying about leaving. I don't know. That's a sad whole storyline there. We see Ryan proposing to Jen Pedranti that they're engaged. And then we see Tamara going, how's the FBI going for you? And Eddie pulling like Tamara's face going, stop, stop. And Jen's like, FBI, what? What? And then Emily saying $16 million went into Ryan's account. He didn't know where it came from. And then Ryan says, everything is the Lord's plan. And then we see Shannon going, you have no idea about John Jansen. You have no idea. And so we see Shannon crying. We see Alexis crying. Alexis saying, I don't want to take her down like this. I'm telling you, it will ruin her life. So Alexis, I'm telling you, don't do this. So we see both of the girls crying over each other. Oh, guys, what a season that we have. Congratulations. We got through the first episode. I swear to God, these will not be this long in the future, but we had to get into it. And I know I say that and I'm probably lying right now, but I hope we had some fun. Now, Shannon Bedore was on Watch What Happens Live directly after, and I'm going to kind of watch right now and come back and let you know if there's any pertinent information, but we did it. OC is back, baby. Did you guys like the episode as much as I did? Let me know in the comments. Or that's if you're watching on YouTube. But I don't know. Hopefully you liked it. Okay, so I just watched Watch What Happens Live. Great. It was great to see Shannon. Kate Upton was the guest. She was really nice to Shannon. A lot of funny stuff about the quiet woman in there, that Shannon owns the quiet woman. The interesting part was that a viewer question said, what can you tell us about John Jansen suing you for giving you $75,000 for a facelift? And Shannon says, well, when that first was offered, there was never anything signed. He didn't ask me for the money, but now lawyers are involved. And I just said, I will pay you. I offered the full amount to him because I know lawyers' fee will surpass $75,000. And lawyers are such a racket, truly. But 75,000 will, surpass with lawyers' fee. So I offered him the full 75,000 and he won't take it. So she says, "What are your ulterior motives?" That is Johnny J. What are you doing, man? What are you doing? I just can't see the big picture. It just seems gross. Gross. But anyways, we did it. Thank you guys so much for listening or watching or however you're consuming this. If you think about it, please rate the podcast 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It's a simple, free way to support. And yeah, that's it. I'm glad we're back. This made me really happy. I hope you got some laughs out of today. And we will talk very, very soon. Bye, guys.